Pirate Eye was dug up by Robin, Chapter 281-300. Chapter 281 The Tenryubito Slayer. The Shocking Pirate Empress. Snake Princess, did you hear that this sea otter is a messenger sent by that man? If you kill it, there will be a big problem. Little old woman, Gloriosa, spoke solemnly. The spacious hall was suddenly plunged into silence and death. Boa's sisters, Sandersonia and Marigold, all widened their eyes with shock and disbelief on their faces. Why, mother-in-law, why are you telling the truth or not? This kind of thing can't be a joke. Marigold said solemnly. You said that these incidents, the horrific incident that happened in the sea in recent months, are all from the same person. Is it really possible? Boa Sandersonia was also shocked by Gloriosa's remarks. Why, mother-in-law, who is the man you're talking about? Margaret was also worried. Yeah, who has the ability to subdue that? The arrogant Shichibukai Sand Crocodile even daringly captured the Enies lobby. Even the 4 emperors of the New World would not attack the Enies lobby for no reason. Sandersonia opened her mouth in shock. What I'm more curious about is why so far, the world government has not responded. Isn't this the biggest provocation to them? Marigold's face was in disbelief. Because that's a real taboo. Gloriosa spoke quietly. Real taboo. Margaret and the others in the hall were all stunned. Speaking of which, Sonia, you have also heard about that man before. When we heard. Sandersonia, Marigold, and even the Empress Hancock all looked puzzled. Margaret, you go out first. Gloriosa rode. Ah, yes. Margaret nodded. Although full of curiosity, he left obediently. Why, mother-in-law, could it be? A pale color flashed across Marigold's face. If it is something that only the 4 of them know, it must be. 13 years ago, the fishman hero who saved you from hell, Fisher Tiger, once said that someone had done it before him, something like that. He was just a follower, and now, the man is back. Gloriosa let out a long breath. Is such a thing really possible? The man who made a fuss about Mariajoy 36 years ago. That, the marine hero who slaughtered Tenryubito and finally disappeared. Sandersonia murmured unconsciously. Gloriosa said it for this sake. How could they not have imagined? Although they are not from the previous era, because of their previous experiences, they have heard some unknown secrets from the dialogues of Rayleigh, Shaki and others. Even the arrogant Queen Boa Hancock's beautiful face at the moment can't hide the shock. You should understand by now, the snake, huh? Boa Hancock took a deep breath, the shock of strong self-pressure. The onion white jade pointed out. A little pink light shines on the sea otter. Petrochemical removal. CU. 3 Gloriosa 3 in the hall were all breathing heavily. Mother-in-law, what is the purpose of that person contacting us this time with 9 snakes? Sandersonia asked. That person wants the method of hockey practice passed down from generation to generation by our 9 snakes. Gloriosa replied. What? How is it possible? Sandersonia and Marigold widened their eyes again. This is the basis for their 9 snakes to survive. How could it be easily handed over to others, even if that person had killed a lot of Tenryubito, which made them happy and had a good impression on them? But this is not enough for them to take the initiative to hand over the hockey secret method. If you do, you will become the sinner of the 9 snakes. But if the negotiation fails, why, mother-in-law, if we don't give it, that person shouldn't come and grab it. A grudging smile appeared on Sandersonia's face. Should, probably not, because that person is not a righteous hero. Marigold rode. Who knows this? After disappearing for 36 years and returning, no one knows whether that hero has changed. Gloriosa shook his head. The hall fell into silence again. No matter what. What did they think and say? The final decision rests with Boa Hancock. Yo, the little girls of the 9 snakes. At this moment, a voice belonging to a man rang out in the hall without warning. Hearing this voice, the expressions of everyone in the hall, including the proud Empress Hancock, changed greatly. "Don't look for it, this is Sky Island's specialty sound shell, I don't have time to go to your side now." Roland's voice sounded again. Result, Boa Hancock and others discovered that the sound came from the shell in the sea otter's hand. "Don't be afraid of the little girls of the 9 snakes, after all, I'm not a devil either." The sea otter pressed the sound shell button again. Sandersonia et al. "Don't worry, even if you don't accept it, I won't really go to you 9 snakes to grab it." Is this person really not here? Marigold and others couldn't help but have this idea in their hearts. This is a transaction. You share with me some of hockey's practice experience. On the contrary, I will also give you satisfactory remuneration, a fair transaction. Call. Hearing this, Gloriosa and the others were all relieved. "Oh yes, although we haven't met, let's give you some gifts." Yinbei's recording ends here. Lingering fears, the sea otter, who no longer pretended to be cool, found a small jar the size of a fingernail from his backpack, put it on the ground, and then hurriedly ran to the balcony. Ga, the vulture who had been waiting for a long time called Friday, and ran away with the sea otter as soon as possible. "What's this greeting?" Sandersonia looked suspiciously at the little paste in the jar. "Sister Sonia, there are also instructions here. This thing seems to be able to remove scars." Marigold rode. "Well, maybe you can try it. That person from the previous era was indeed the best doctor." Gloriosa seemed to recall something from the past. "Say it." She didn't stop any longer. "What I learned today has had a ton of shock on her spirit. She needs to go home and be quiet." Gloriosa leaves with Margaret outside the door. Boa Hancock's sisters remained in the hall. "Sister, why don't you try?" Chapter 282 Empress Hancock's excitement and heartbeat. Open black lens bracket 2/5 for order. Close black lens bracket. "Sister, the instruction book left by the sea otter says that the liquid in it can heal all wounds and scars, or let's try it." Marigold opened his mouth tentatively. 16 years ago, they became slaves, and they were permanently marked with Tenryubido on their backs. It was the imprint of the dragon flying hoof on their backs that made them never dare to show their backs in front of her for more than 10 years. Even when taking a bath, they will expel all the people around them with great fanfare. It's not that they haven't thought about learning from Fishman Tiger. Cover this dazzling dragon's hoof mark with other marks, such as the 9 snakes. But even if it is covered with other patterns, they probably still don't have the courage to let others see it. If it is not perfect, it will be seen by others. Even if the cover is perfect, the imprint of the slave will not be seen at all. If such a pattern is left in the middle of the back, it will inevitably be suspected of concealing one's ears and stealing the bell. Your partner may not think much of it. But what about other people and enemies? There are not a few people in this sea who choose to cover the slave mark with other patterns. Many people see large tattoos on other people's bodies, and they will subconsciously guess whether it was originally Tenryubido's slave mark. If asked, the 3 sisters couldn't keep their composure no matter what. Once anyone sees any panic, then everything is over. So unless the humiliation mark on the back can be completely eliminated, the 3 Boa Hancock sisters will not cover it with other patterns. The purpose is to keep yourself at the highest level of vigilance. Let your guard down because of self-deception. "Sister, my mother-in-law also said before that that man was the best doctor in the last era. If it can be eliminated, at least it will be a consolation." Sandersonia nodded. "Mary, Sonia, the words of a stinky man who has never met face to face, you all believe that it is too disappointing for the concubine." The proud Queen Hancock finally spoke. He grabbed the small jar from Marigold's hand and threw it out the window when he raised his hand. But the next moment, after smelling the peculiar, intoxicating smell from the open jar, Boa Hancock trembled. May I firmly locked the small jar in her hand. The little panacea in it seemed to have some kind of magic power, attracting her body. Or, let's try. Boa Hancock nodded. Really fragrant. Sandersonia, marigold. Today's sister is really changeable. But since my sister is willing to try. Of course it couldn't be better. The curtain was lowered in Boa Hancock's boudoir. Wow, a big red cheongsam was thrown to the ground by Boa Hancock. The way out is the perfect figure that is enough to look down on all the women in the world. Boa Hancock raised his slender hand lightly and lifted up the dark red Tianlong flying hoof mark on his back. His white and beautiful back was distinct. Extremely dazzling. Sandersonia pursed her lips, used a tool to scrape out the wound medicine from the jar, and gently smeared it on the red circular mark on Boa Hancock's back. A scorching discomfort suddenly appeared. Ling's Boa Hancock couldn't help frowning. But soon, that little bit of discomfort disappeared. What turned out to be extreme comfort. Start with the mark on her back. An indescribable active force spread through her limbs and bones in an instant. It brought an unprecedented novel experience to her body. Call. Boa Hancock let out a long breath. A little bit of fine sweat appeared on the smooth forehead, moistening the hair on the forehead. In addition, there are arms, calves, jade feet and other parts. There are also fine beads of sweat. What exactly does this feel like? Boa Hancock sat weakly on the seat of Salome the python. His right hand covers his atrium. Even if it's 10 centimeters apart. She could still clearly feel the beating of her heart. Jump harder than ever. She was heartbroken. An unspeakable emotion was born from the bottom of her heart. It seems to be missed. She wants to meet someone. But she couldn't even tell who she saw. Completely clueless. Because I have never met before, never seen each other. Ah, it's gone, it's really gone, the mark has really disappeared. Just when Boa Hancock was immersed in the emotions of heart and miss. A loud cry of joy from Sister Sandersonia woke her up from her thoughts. It really disappeared, there is no trace of it. Marigold also leaned in front of her sister's beautiful back. An uncontrollable joy appeared on his big face. Mary, Sonia, what's gone? Boa Hancock's incomprehensible question. Mark, sister, the scars on your back are really gone, and your skin looks like a newborn baby. Sandersonia surprise. Really? Boa Hancock's eyes widened. The beautiful face has been completely occupied by shock and incredible emotions. There's a little more, Sister Sonia, and paint those 3 little ones too. Marigold urged. Oh. Sandersonia answered again and again. Looking down, his body froze again. What's the matter, Sonia's sister? No more. The previous, gone, refers to the imprint on Boa Hancock's back. This time, no more, refers to the panacea in the jar. How? Marigold slumped weakly to the ground. It's only a little bit closer, why is there no more? In this case, the situation has not changed, it's still the same as before. Sandersonia is also full of unwillingness, and her pretty face is pale. The feeling of seeing hope, but then shattering it. It's really unacceptable. Don't get lost, look up, Mary, Sonia. Boa Hancock's majestic voice rang in the ears of the sisters. Sister. Sandersonia and Marigold looked up in confusion. As long as it is what the concubine wants, it will never be obtained, because the concubine is as beautiful as a god. Boa Hancock stood up and raised his head confidently and proudly. Go ahead and prepare for the second expedition this year. This time I will go to that. Alabasta. Sister. Yes. The expressions of excitement flashed across Marigold and Sandersonia's faces, and they nodded heavily. Chapter 283 Kaya is coming. A guest from Tom's studio. Open black lens bracket 3/5 for order. Close black lens bracket. Early morning. The rising sun. The emerging port of Alabasta, Wei Sung welcomed its first guests. A treasure ship with a cherry blossom flag slowly sailed into Crescent Harbor. Come here. Kaya and the others are here. Kaya. Little Kaya. The treasure ship has not yet docked. Nami, Vivi and other little girls on the shore exclaimed happily. He waved to the girl on the boat. Nami, Vivi, Robin, Koala and everyone. Sakura treasure ship. Kaya, a fair-skinned girl with long pale blonde hair, was excitedly waving to her friends on the shore. In no time, the cherry blossom ship docked. Kaya took Chopper, the first to disembark along the connecting plate, to meet his sisters. Kaya, how are you doing this time? Well, I learned a lot from the teacher. Kaya, let me tell you, Brother Rolling took us to many, many interesting places. We have even seen the Sky Island at a height of 10,000 meters. I've seen it in the papers. There was a forced smile on Kaya's face. Feeling lost inside. After all, if she didn't disembark halfway, she could share the joy of adventure with her sisters. But everything has its pros and cons. It's a shame not to have a thrilling adventure with the sisters. But in the Sakura Kingdom in the past 2 months, she has indeed learned a lot of knowledge that she had never been able to access before. Little Kaya, we'll take you to Sky Island to see the Going Clock Tower later. Robin saw Kaya's loss and smiled. Really? Kaya's eyes suddenly lit up. Of course. Naturally, Nami said. You can also go with the little civet cats. With a big smile on Vivi's face, she stroked Chopper's furry cheeks. I'm a reindeer, not a civet cat, bastard, and can I also see it? Chopper, who was in a rage, immediately had a look of surprise on his face. Of emotions before and after is unbearable. Kaya. Roland, who decisively ended his entanglement with the old woman Kuleha, smiled and said. Roland go. Looking at Luo Lin walking towards him. Kaya's fair face suddenly flushed red, and she hurriedly trotted 2 steps, then boldly opened her arms. In the widened beautiful eyes of Nami and the others, they hugged Luo Lin. So warm. Kaya whispered softly. Here, Sha Island is naturally much warmer than Winter Island. Roland put his big hand on Kaya's pale golden hair and rubbed it lightly. Get Roland's head tossed as he wished. Kaya's pretty face suddenly appeared satisfied for a long while. Brother Luo Ling, then I'll watch the Going Clock Tower with Nami first, and I'll report to you the results of my 2 months later in the evening. Kaya let go. Arms, playful eyes. Go go go. Roland waved. Kaya, the going boat has come down, let's go to Sky Island. Nami greeted. Wow, it's really a boat made by Going. Adorable reindeer Chopper marvels. Such a big going ship must be worth a lot of money. Kurha's eyes lit up for the same trip to Sky Island. Teacher, this is Brother Rolling's ship. Kaya said quickly. Haha, you girl, you really forgot your teacher when you have a brother. Kurha laughed. Kaya was speechless, stomped her feet shyly, and turned to mingle with Nami and other little girls. Kaya, look at my new abilities. Nami the mysterious Isho. Then, under the gaze of Kaya's wide eyes, it turned into a pure white cloud. And me. Vivi is also an excited opening, and her body gradually becomes transparent. Nami, Vivi, how the hell did you do it? This is our devil fruit ability, and you will have it in the future, Kaya. Really? Of course, there is Brother Rolling here. In the laughter of the little girls. The going arc slowly lifted off under the control of driver Enel and climbed to an altitude of 10,000 meters. Boss. Handsome uncle. Just after going, arc lifted off. The long-nosed Usopp who sneaked out of the martial arts field and the Vitality Straw Hat Luffy came together. Hoo, old boss, Kaya, is Kaya here? Usopp gasped heavily and asked. Girl Kaya, I just went to Sky Island with Robin and the others to visit the Going Clock Tower. Roland rode. Ah. Usopp bowed his head in disappointment. He had already prepared a belly full of stories, and prepared dozens of stories about him showing off his skills in South Blue, which he wanted to tell Kaya as before. Well, now Kaya is no longer alone. Even if I don't tell her stories, she will definitely not be alone. Thinking of this, the lost expression on Usopp's face disappeared. Luffy, it's your turn. Usopp pushed the straw hat Luffy. Oh. The straw hat boy nodded again and again. Handsome uncle, my boat. Are the boatmen who can help me build the boat here? Straw hat Luffy's eyes lit up and asked expectantly. Mr. Rollin. Wait, Rollins replied. The bay not far away. Alice, a blonde girl wearing a peaked cap, swooped lightly. Mr. Ibugu, the chief of the water capital, their ship is almost here. The girl Alice reported. Just right. Roland nodded. Alice, let the shipmasters in the water capital go to the battleship repair area, and... Okay, Mr. Rollins. I'm going too. The straw hat boy kept drinking. Follow Alice to the battleship repair area with the long-nosed boy. 10 minutes later. The big ship carrying the outstanding shipbuilders of the water capital sailed into Waesung City. Gudong. At the bow of the ship in the capital of water, the old man Ukekaluo drank half a bottle of wine, but he still couldn't suppress his excitement. Mr. Tom, you created Tom's studio, but you were the only one who couldn't come, but you must be watching from the sky. The elderly fish Kokoro whispered to himself. Ha, it's finally here. I don't know if we will have a chance to see the legendary Going Township with our own eyes after the ship is repaired. We must be able to pick up a lot of goings. With orange goggles, the ship's master Barry's eyes lit up, fantasizing about picking up money in his mind, and rubbing his hands in excitement. Hey, Barry, what are you daydreaming about in the daytime? Work quickly. Only by working can you make money and pay off your debts. This time the other party's remuneration is very generous. We must come up with corresponding means. Bipoli Lulu, the captain of the ship with upturned hair, reminded. Kagu, Lucci, you guys are coming to work soon. The bearded boatman Thielstone urged. Come here. Nor Lucci who answered him, but a white dove standing on Lucci's shoulder. Iceberg, President, the arrangements are almost done here, then I will accompany you to discuss business with the owner of this city. Khalifa, a blonde beauty dressed in black silk, high heels and a professional secretary, pushed up her glasses. Chapter 284 Full Luffy and Variant Frankie Open Black Lens Bracket 4/5 Order Close Black Lens Bracket. President Iceberg. Waesung Battleship Repair Port. Khalifa, a blonde beauty dressed in black silk, high heels and a standard secretary dress, pushed up her gold-rimmed glasses. Next, I will accompany the president to negotiate business with the owner of this city. No need. Ahead, Iceberg, the president of the Carrera Company and the head of the water capital with short blue hair, teased the hamster in his pocket without raising his head. President. Blonde secretary Khalifa looked puzzled. What I mean is that there is no need to worry about business matters. This time, I am actually more curious about Sky Island and want to visit the legendary Sky Island Going Township. Iceberg laughed. President, you are still the head of the water capital. It's inappropriate to leave the citizens out for tourism. Khalifa frowned and complained. Ha, I'm sorry, I am sorry, but I've come here, I have to take a look. Agaga, Mr. Iceberg, unfortunately, the flight to Sky Island has left today. If you want to see it, I'll have to wait until tomorrow. Alice, the girl in the peaked cap, opened her mouth with a smile. Hey, can't we go to Sky Island today? Meow. Simone, the little girl with pigtails, disembarked with the meowing rabbit come. Ha, don't be in a hurry, Zimoni, a good meal is not afraid of being late. Elderly fish Kokolo disembarks. Agaga, then let me take everyone to the residential area for a short rest. Girl Alice made a gesture of please. Then I will trouble Miss Alice, and Khalifa. I will trouble you to keep an eye on the work here. Iceberg Road. Okay, President. Khalifa nodded in agreement. When the sun shines, the lenses of the thin-rimmed gold glasses reflect a little different light. Khalifa, what's the matter? Why don't you come with me? A long square-nosed boat as flexible and free as the wind, appeared beside Khalifa and asked in a deep voice. Iceberg doesn't want me to follow. It seems like it won't work to find out who's behind this city as a secretary. Khalifa said calmly. Sure enough, there is still a problem. What happened to the person who smuggled over with us? Kagu asked. That, Frankie from the disintegration house. Maybe it's time to call him Katie Flam, another disciple of Fishman Shipmaster Tom, whose death was not confirmed 10 years ago. We couldn't be sure before, but this time, it should be him. The secret drawing may be on him too. There's Bluno secretly watching over there in Cutiflam, and there's a door fruit ability, no matter what. Iceberg can't do anything they want to get out of Bluno's watch. Khalifa pushed up her glasses confidently. Indeed, as long as Bluno's ability is there, all tasks of our operation will be much easier. Kagu nodded. The other side. Outside the battleship repair base, somewhere on the coast. Accompanied by the sound of crashing. A figure covered in a large black robe broke out of the water and jumped onto the shore. He tore off his wet black robe. The way out of the perverted posture of wearing only a pair of underwear. That bastard in Iceberg actually asked this uncle to hide in the dark and damp bottom of the boat for so many days. When did this uncle suffer such grievances? If there is no important matter, I will definitely show you. The transformed man, Frankie, scolded. Hey, your body looks so interesting. The lost boy wearing a straw hat suddenly fell from the sky and landed in front of the reformer Frankie. Ah, wow. The sudden appearance of Straw Hat Luffy shocked Frankie in an instant. You, what the hell are you? Frankie panicked, subconsciously entering a fighting state. My name is Straw Hat Luffy, and I'm going to be the man of One Piece, King of Pirates. Straw Hat Luffy introduced himself naturally. Ha ha. Frankie gave an absurd look like a fool. You kid has a brain, and One Piece, King of Pirates. Frankie sneered. He. For Frankie's taunting, Straw Hat Luffy didn't care at all. Sure enough, I met a fool. Frankie thought. Taking into account the entrustment of my brother Iceberg. Frankie nodded, his sturdy right arm flew out without warning, and hit the Straw Hat Luffy. I want to stun it and tie it up. Oh. Looking at Frankie's suddenly stretched arms, Straw Hat Luffy's eyes widened in surprise. You can actually stretch your arms too. Luffy staggered as he spoke. Properly dodging Frankie's strong right arm. The blow that he thought was a sure hit was avoided by the opponent's luck, and Frankie couldn't help but be surprised. This fool, luck is really good. Frankie groaned and retracted his chained right arm. Hey, what's going on with your body? It's like a robot. Besides, this right hand, do you have any other moves? Let me see. Straw Hat Luffy opened his mouth with excitement. Bastard, this uncle is completely underestimated. Played by a fool, Frankie was instantly embarrassed. Little devil, this is what you forced me to do. Since that's the case, then let you see the horror of the transformed man, Mr. Frankie. Frankie spoke coldly. Papa, Frankie's raised left hand opened, revealing several muzzles. Bean left hand. Da, fell along with Frankie's voice. A dense rain of bullets shot out from Frankie's wrist. It's really amazing. Your body, if Usopp is here, you will be happy. Oh, do you want to go see my partner together? Straw Hat Luffy twisted flexibly, and observation hockey unfolded, evading Frankie's intensive bullet rain. Although the Straw Hat Boy always angers instructor Zephyr on weekdays, it is undeniable that his hockey training speed is much faster than Zoro, Sanji and others. As if the power of hockey was engraved in his genes, directly inherited from his grandfather Garp. Lying fuck it. Until the bullet in the left hand runs out. The muzzle is misfired. Frankie finally lied again and made a sound. The gaze that looked at the Straw Hat Boy no longer looked like a fool at first. Some are just shocking and unbelievable. Where did Iceberg take me this time? This kid is just a monster. Frankie thought in shock. Stupid Frankie, stop. Luffy, so are you. Two shouts came from not far away. That's Iceberg and the girl Alice. Chapter 285. Bluno is horrified. Frankie is stunned. 5/5 for subscription. Stop it, fool Frankie. Luffy, how did you get here? The voices of Iceberg and the girl Alice came from the coast not far away, causing Frankie and Luffy to turn their heads together. Frankie, didn't I tell you to keep a low profile? Why is there such a big commotion? I can hear it from a few hundred meters away. Iceberg looked at his worried junior brother with a look of reproach. Idiot Iceberg, I haven't settled with you yet. You'd better talk to me first. Besides, it was this Straw Hat Boy who picked things up first. Frankie retorted with dissatisfaction. Ha ha ha, cluck cluck. Seeing this pair of senior brothers quarreling after a long absence, the elderly Ukekaluo laughed happily. Agaga, Luffy Luffy, you are not a natural road idiot like Zoro, why did you follow along and disappear? On the other side, Alice, the girl in the peaked cap, shook her head helplessly. When he was in the Crescent Harbor, Luffy, the Straw Hat, was full of energy and couldn't wait to find the shipbuilders in the capital of water to build a ship. As a result, after turning his head like this, Luffy, the Straw Hat, was lost and disappeared. Like Zoro, a three-knife flow green algae head. Sure enough, idiots and road idiots are contagious. The girl Alice thought. He pulled a little distance from Luffy. Ha ha ha, sorry, my observation hockey felt a little bit of movement just now, I just wanted to check it out, and here I am. Straw Hat Luffy didn't care about girl Alice's little gesture. Okay, Luffy, the battleship repair port is over there, Usopp is already waiting there, and the best shipmasters in the water capital are already in place. If you have any requests, just tell them. The girl Alice pointed in a direction. Okay. Luffy happily agreed. Hey, robot, I'm going to work on the ship first, and I'll play with you when I'm free. Luffy looked at Frankie. Who wants to play with you? Frankie scolded loudly. It's just that the Straw Hat Boy was already running towards the maintenance port and didn't listen to him at all. Okay, let's go too. Iceberg urged. Just then. Abrupt mutation. A powerful aura suddenly burst out from the Straw Hat Luffy not far away. The young girls Alice, Frankie and the others all turned around suddenly. Just happened to see the huge steam rising from the Straw Hat Luffy. Second gear, armament hardened, rubber pistol. Under the shocked gazes of the girl Alice and the others, the Straw Hat Luffy jumped up. Punch into the empty sea. Boom, the powerful armament punched, blasting a huge splash on the sea, setting off waves of waves. This. The sudden burst of power from the fool Luffy, Frankie was shocked to the point of being speechless. He's obviously just a kid, how could he be so strong? If the previous punch fell on this uncle, it would be over. This kid is really a monster. Frankie was madly complaining in his heart, and he was afraid. Luffy, what's wrong? The girl Alice looked solemn. She knew that although Luffy was off the line a little bit, he would never do it for no reason. As expected, someone was looking at this side just now, but Straw Hat Luffy gradually dissipated, and looking at the empty sea, he tilted his head in confusion. Sorry, maybe my observation hockey is not strong enough, and it's not necessarily if I have an illusion, then I'll go first, goodbye, Alice. Straw Hat Boy waved his hand, took 3 steps and 2 steps, and rushed to the battleship maintenance port. The intruder. Teenage Alice Vivi frowned. Soon, the eyebrows opened again. This is Wei Sung, Mr. Roland's Wei Sung. Even if there is an intruder, there is nothing to worry about. Let's go. Girl Alice greeted and walked towards the headquarters building with Iceberg and others. 5 minutes after the crowd left, there was a thud in the air of an alley on the coast. Then, a strange thing happened. Which should have been invisible and colorless, split open like a door. Cough cough. Cough sounded. A dull man in a black suit and a horn-haired hairstyle walked out of the air door. A trace of blood dripped from the corner of his mouth involuntarily. His dull face was filled with extreme shock and disbelief. Because he owns door fruit today, he was discovered twice by a boy who looked no more than 17 or 18 years old. And the second time, he was almost caught. If it weren't for his air door closing fast enough. It is absolutely impossible for him to stand here now. Just being rubbed a little, it caused him, a Superman with 800 Tao power, to vomit blood. That boy in a straw hat. This city where the three of Kumadori, Fukuro and Jabra have lost contact really has a big problem. Member, Bluno, who is capable of Menmengwo, couldn't help but be horrified. At the same time, Waesung headquarters building. Under Alice's lead, Iceberg, Frankie and Kokoro from Tom's studio, together with the little girls Amon and Rabbit Quimby, climbed to the top of the headquarters building unimpeded. Dang dang, girl Alice knocked on the door. Sir, Mr. Iceberg of the water capital, they have arrived. The girl Alice reported. Come in. Roland's voice came from inside the house. Squeak. The door to the exquisite workmanship opened with a sound. After Iceberg and his party arrived, the girl Alice left quietly. This. Looking at the scene in the room, Frankie, who looked like a fool, was suddenly speechless in surprise. Isn't this what it means to come to see the big man? Isn't the big man supposed to be serious and solemn? But what is going on in front of me? This is the highest floor of this luxurious-looking building. Is this place that looks like the boss's office a restaurant? Is this a place to ask them to come over for dinner? And that young man doesn't look like a big man. Frankie's heart began to have intense psychological and activity again. Hey, Iceberg, can you explain to me, what the hell is going on? You made this uncle hide in the bottom of the boat for so many days, that's all. Frankie, who only felt that he had been tricked, took a deep breath and suppressed his anger to express his inner dissatisfaction to his senior brother. But at this moment, Iceberg didn't react in the slightest to Frankie's dissatisfaction. From entering the door until now, Iceberg's eyes have only been firmly locked on the young man in front of the long dining table. Gradually, his eyes became red at a speed visible to the naked eye. Frankie, who noticed this, was stunned on the spot. What are you still doing? Since you're here, come and sit down, we'll chat while eating. Chapter 286 The Famous Legend of Heroes Open Black Lens Bracket 1/5 Order Close Black Lens Bracket. Erebus Emerging Port, the highest floor of Waesung headquarters building, which should be owned by the city controller, is unexpectedly devoid of any seriousness and solemnity. Compared to an orthodox office, it's more like a banquet restaurant. Who was already ready to meet the big man, was suddenly shocked by the scene in front of him and his eyes widened. Immediately afterwards, a look of extreme annoyance emerged from his iron face. He obeyed his senior brother Iceberg's orders, was wronged, and was useless for so many days. And, it was just a meal. What kind of thing is this? But just when he questioned his senior brother Iceberg, Frankie was shocked to see that his senior brother, who was barely considered a tough guy, actually. Tears. What's going on? Frankie Chi was stunned on the spot. Hey, Iceberg, don't use tears to win my sympathy, I'm not going to eat this. Frankie spoke, his face already filled with an emotion called shock. Iceberg, in his late 40s, was still unresponsive. His sight, his whole mind from beginning to end, were only firmly locked on the man at the table. His mind, the memory of childhood gradually recovered. How could he not recognize the person in front of him since he had lived in Tom's studio since he was a child? Even at that time he was only a 3-year-old child. But that face. Iceberg will never be forgotten. Because that is his teacher, Mr. Tom's best friend. At the same time, he is a hero in childhood, youth and even middle age, and he has always admired in his heart throughout his life. Iceberg, you are not, that's all. Forget it, I'm afraid of you, isn't it? I won't hold you accountable. Sighed, Frankie, who was still unconscious, spoke to himself. And old lady Kokoro, what's the matter with you? If you are greedy for good wine and food, your saliva is flowing from the wrong place. It should be like Chimoni and the others from the corner of your mouth. Frankie noticed the tears on Granny Coco's face. So the shock inside was even greater. In the end, it turned into a series of horse bugs, and blurted out. Frankie fool, I'm not drooling. The little girl with pigtails, Zimwan, wiped the saliva from the corner of her mouth and denied it. Meow meow meow. Kunbei, the rabbit who only meows, also sternly agrees. Kokora, Iceberg, all stunned, come and sit down, we'll chat while we eat. Roland smiled. Is it really possible? Meow meow meow. Little girl Zimone responds with rabbit come. Of course you can, come here. Roland beckoned. Yeah. Meow. Zimoni and rabbit come jumped and sat down happily. Mother-in-law, Uncle Iceberg, idiot Frankie, you all come here soon, the handsome brother agrees. Meow meow meow. The little girl Zimone urged. Why come to me, idiot, Zimone, too much. Frankie is dissatisfied. A little bit, stupid Frankie. The little girl Zimone made a face. Zimone is right, you're a total idiot, Frankie. Iceberg, who had been silent, crying, all the time, suddenly spoke up. What are you talking about, Iceberg? I think you're just looking for a fight. Frankie was instantly furious. Have you not recognized it yet? Iceberg rhetorically. Recognize what? Frankie was taken aback. The person over there, he is the Uncle Roland that Mr. Tom has been talking about for so many years. Iceberg took a deep breath and shouted with all his strength. Roland, Uncle. The cry of Iceberg echoed in his ears. Frankie was stunned for a moment. He only felt a boom in his head. Was like being struck by thunder, causing a storm of turbulent waves to appear in his mind. The long-term memories that were dusted in the corner of his mind gradually shook off the dust and gradually became clear. Roland. Frankie murmured the name. This name is definitely not unfamiliar to him. 30 years ago. Abandoned in the water capital by his pirate parents, he was eventually adopted by Tom, a well-meaning fishman shipmaster, who taught him shipbuilding knowledge. Frankie remembers that during those years in Tom's studio, there was a special day of silence every year. That's in memory of Mr. Tom's best friend. That best friend's name is Roland. A lost hero was born 34 years ago in Frankie, for what happened at sea in the past, utterly ignorant of those great events. Especially after the big hand named world government buried everything. About that vanished marine hero is getting more and more unknown. Before, Frankie had questioned the authenticity of the hero in that photo more than once. As a result, each time was jointly educated by Kokoro, Iceberg and even the kind Mr. Tom. Mr. Tom once said this to him more than once. About my best friend, everything about him has been erased, the only thing left is our memory. So we have to remember it better, even if it doesn't matter if you don't know each other, as long as you remember it firmly, that's enough. Frankie took out an old photo from the transformed body. On the yellowed old photo, the face of the young Marine who took a photo with his mentor gradually overlapped with the man in front of him. Strictly fit. Even after decades, there is still not the slightest difference. Believe it, the hero, and his legend, will one day make a resounding reappearance. Frankie unconsciously repeated what his teacher Tom had said to him. The shock and excitement in my heart continued to emerge like a tide. His iron body made a constant creaking sound. Woo. Woo. I'm sorry, Mr. Tom. I'm sorry for the hero. I shouldn't have questioned you before. Frankie bit his lip desperately, trying not to let himself cry. However, tears had already burst from his eyes. Stupid Frankie, even crying is so unpleasant, you're a hopeless idiot. Iceberg laughed and cried. Chapter 287 Zephyr is here. CP9 is stunned. Woo. Woo. The unpleasant cries, like ghost cries and wolf cries, echoed from the top floor of the Waesung headquarters building. I'm sorry, Mr. Tom. I'm sorry, Hero Roland. In the future, I will never question you again in the future. Mr. Tom is right, the hero and his legend are really coming back to life. Although he was an Iron Man, Frankie, who was very emotional, cried, tears streaming down his iron face that could not be stopped. The handkerchief was lost in the trash. Frankie is the second disciple that Mr. Tom accepted later, my junior brother. I also ask Mr. Roland not to take offense. This boy has always been like this. Iceberg opened his mouth with a smile. Roland nodded, not paying too much attention. Because for Frankie, he doesn't know much less than Iceberg and others. Although this brat in underpants is a little perverted, he is still affectionate and righteous. Mr. Roland, after so many years, you still haven't changed at all, and you are still as good-looking as before. The old monster mermaid Kokoro put her chin on her hands and stared at the hero who once saved her from the human traffickers without blinking. This posture is similar to that of the little girls such as Vivi and Nami who were Nympho. The current Kokoro is no longer the young beautiful mermaid. Both body and appearance have been completely out of shape and deformed. Rao is Luo Lin, and it is really unbearable. Mother-in-law, this is delicious. Meow meow meow. Simone, the little girl with pigtails, said excitedly. Save Roland from Kokoro's sight. Ha ha ha, eat them all. I used to go to your place to eat and drink. Now it's time for me to do it again. Roland laughed. The atmosphere inside the house is warm. 3 wine tours. The dishes have 5 flavors. Under the influence of fine wine, the drunken Kokoro burped a satisfied wine burp. Mr. Roland, you were the one who captured the Ennie's lobby that day. Coco rode. Yes. Roland nodded. I knew it would be great for Mr. Tom to have such a close friend as you. Coco rode. Woo. Listen to the conversation between Kokoro and Roland. Frankie, who had already stopped, burst into tears again. I'm sorry, Mr. Roland, it's all because of me. It's because of me that Mr. Tom was framed by a traitor. Frankie cried out in remorse. Frankie, don't cry, shame on you, of course you are at fault, but in the final analysis it is the government. A look of anger flashed across Iceberg's face. Now the vengeance of that bastard Mr. Dedham in Spandam has been avenged, but the matter is far from over, as long as that thing is still there. Speaking of which, a look of determination flashed across Iceberg's face, looking at Roland. Uncle Roland, I have an unkind request. Tell me. I want to keep this incompetent junior brother on your side. Iceberg rode. Alas. Hearing this, Frankie stopped crying immediately and dragged the end in surprise. Idiot Iceberg, don't make decisions about other people's lives without authorization, although this city is also very good, but the water capital is my base camp. My younger brother and sister Zambi, Maz, Sodom, Gomorrah wait. But they're still there. If they leave my big brother, what will they do? Frankie rode. Stupid Frankie, I am doing this for your safety. I don't want to see you go down the same path as Mr. Tom, let alone that thing. The design of the ancient weapon Pluto falls into the hands of the government. Iceberg shouted without any cover. The huge room fell into a dead silence. Looked at Iceberg in disbelief. Iceberg, what the hell do you mean? Frankie was shocked. Uncle Roland is someone you can absolutely trust, so there's no problem. Iceberg nodded affirmatively. Stupid Frankie, let me tell you the truth. The people of the world government have not given up looking for the blueprint of Hades. They have already set their sights on me, and recently my inner uneasiness is getting stronger and stronger. I can feel that people from the government are hiding by my side, and they even came here with us this time. They may have noticed your existence. Iceberg said solemnly. Hey, idiot, Iceberg, are you kidding me? Frankie was shocked. Do you look like I'm joking? Iceberg smiled wryly. Aunt Cocolo and I have discussed it. Keeping you here, whether it is for you or the drawings, is the safest. Mr. Roland, please agree to our unreasonable request. Coco Luo also begged to look at Roland. Yes. Roland nodded without hesitation. It's really good, you idiot Frankie, thank you Uncle Soon. Iceberg is excited. Thank you so much, but what about my little brothers and sisters? Frankie muttered softly. If your little brothers can repair ships, let them come over together. Anyway, I still have a lot of free space here. Roland smiled. Oh, really? Hearing this, the last worry in Frankie's heart disappeared. Woo. Tears of emotion spilled out of Frankie's eyes again. Ha ha ha. Iceberg et al. Laugh. The time of the day is fleeting. Robin, Bibi, Nami, Koala and others still take Kaya to visit, play, and adventure at Sky Island at a height of 10,000 meters. Frankie, Iceberg and others were temporarily staying in Waesung under the arrangement of the girl Alice. Silent night. People who have worked hard all day go to sleep one after another and accumulate energy for tomorrow's work and training. At this moment, Waesung Battleship Repair Port. The temporary residence of the boatmen of the Carrera Company, the capital of water. Three figures stood up quietly. Jumping down from the window, leaping over the roof. After 2 minutes, three figures gathered in a vacant basement in Waesung. Pat. The sound of the door opening came from the empty air. The air opens a door. The fourth man stepped out of the air door, his face as pale as paper. What's wrong? Bluno, what's the matter with you? World Government 9 Spy Hand Kagu and Khalifa asked in unison. I saw, in the city today. See Marine Chief Instructor Zephyr. Nani. Chapter 288 Lucci, Kagu and Isho, Shiki, 3/5. I watched it during the day. And saw Marine Chief Instructor Zephyr. Dark basement. A faint kerosene lamp flickered with dripping flames. Illuminated 4 slender figures in the basement. When Bluno, the door fruit-capable person, dropped his voice, the entire basement fell into absolute silence in an instant. I don't know how long ago. The spark on the kerosene lamp suddenly flashed rapidly. That's because people's breath takes a gust of wind. Wind helps fire. Sizzle. The sound of gasping for air reverberated in the basement. Nani. What did you say? The ruthless killer of the secret intelligence organization affiliated to the world government, but at this moment is no longer calm. Hey, Bluno, what are you talking about? Stop kidding. How could Zephyr, Marine's chief instructor, be here? Absolutely impossible. Shanfeng Kagu, with a long square nose, shook his head repeatedly. His usual calm face was now replaced by shock and disbelief. Former Marine Admiral, Marine Chief Instructor Zephyr, how could such a character appear here? You must be reading it wrong. The graceful blonde beauty Khalifa has an extremely incredible face. The fiery body trembled. The one in front of her was even more ups and downs with her breathing. Set off a burst of exciting arcs. At first I thought I was dazzled, but it's really Black Arm Zephyr. Not even just Zephyr, I've seen and heard the names of many familiar Marine veterans there. The expression on Bluno's face is no longer dull. His whole body was filled with shocking emotions. The day had a ton of shocks on his mind. Could it be that the rumor is true? Marine Chief Instructor Zephyr has really resigned and retired? No. Khalifa shook her head again and again. But even so, it doesn't make sense why Zephyr, who chose to resign and retire, came here. Khalifa's pretty face is full of surprise. Just feel that my head is not enough, and it is filled with countless questions. Lucci, there's really something wrong with this city. At Rob Lucci, who is always silent. As a strong man 800 years ago. Now, after Spandam's death, Lucci is the supreme commander of 9. Kagu is right, there is really a big problem here. Regardless, I hid in the air door to follow that Frankie, and was spotted twice by a boy in a straw hat. That kid is as strong as a monster, a young monster like that kid, I saw more than a handful today. Bluno said with lingering fears. That, the straw hat boy we also met today, he is really strong. Kagu nodded. Did the above really hide it from us? Khalifa's eyes widened. So what? Finally, the silent pigeon man, Rob Lucci spoke up. It is not the endorsement of the white dove on the shoulder. But he speaks himself. Lucci. Khalifa, the three of them all looked at Lucci with amazement. We are 9 killers trained by the government. The purpose of our existence is to carry out the tasks explained above. Completing the tasks is our bounden duty and the only thing we need to do. Weird straw hat instructor Zephyr, they have nothing to do with our mission. Rob Lucci's words today were a little more rare. Means that his heart is actually not as peaceful as it seems on the surface. Lucci, but... Khalifa wanted to say more, but was stopped by Kagu. Now to assign this task. Me and Kagu, tonight's destination is Wanmi Sky Island, going to the historical article under the big clock tower. Bluno, you continue to stare at Frankie and Iceberg. Find out where the ancient weapons of Hades are located. Khalifa, you go to that building, take a look at the Waisung headquarters building. See you all in 3 hours. Lucci is concise, and divides the tasks of each individual. Yes. Even though there were still concerns in their hearts, the 3 nodded. Scatter. The 4 people in the basement of Swish 4 feet turned into 4 afterimages and disappeared from the spot. The gust of wind blew out the spark of the kerosene lamp. Ah, hee hee. Just a minute later. Suddenly there was a chuckle from the empty basement, and the extinguished kerosene lamp was lit again. Illuminated Roland's face. The business ability of each one is quite good. I don't know if the training can be used by me. Roland smiled softly. There's nothing left or right, let's play with you little guys now. ... The night is dark. A hazy moon shone through the clouds. Covered the sea with a gleaming silver light. Incredibly beautiful. It's just that such a beautiful scenery, if the standing is not high enough. Hi, but you can't appreciate it. Whoosh, 2 dark figures flashed in the dark night, accompanied by the sound of breaking the sky. The air seemed to materialize under their feet. Supporting their bodies, they lifted off to a higher place. Is not an easy task to climb to a height of 10,000 meters with the Rokushiki moon step. More than 4,000 Dao can do it. Although Kagu with a Taoist strength of 2002 is a bit reluctant, it is not impossible to persevere. 1 kilometer. 2 kilometers. 10 minutes later. Lucci and Kagu came to an altitude of 3,000 meters. Lucci, look over there, there's actually a piece of floating land. Kagu found a floating object not far away. Not a cloud, but a huge stone platform. Perceive this. Kagu's face instantly showed extreme shock and disbelief. Swish, the 2 stepped on the moon step, and in no time they landed on the huge land platform. What the hell is going on? The sky island above 10,000 meters is built on the island cloud, but this platform can float in the air without relying on the island cloud. It really doesn't make sense to see what's wrong. Kagu murmured in shock with a look of disbelief on his face. Even the cold-hearted Lucci could not help frowning at this time. No, someone is here. A certain moment, Lucci suddenly raised his head and looked at the higher sky. Sorry, Sky Island has not yet opened the sightseeing tour function. If you want to see Going Township, please buy tickets through regular channels in the future. The boom, purple gravitational aperture fell from the sky and landed on Rob Lucci's body, instantly bending his waist. Gia ha 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 ha, little devils, if you don't want to die, just get out of here. You are Golden Lion Shaki. Chapter 289 Khalifa with splits open black lens bracket 4/5 for subscription close black lens bracket. Sorry, Sky Island has not yet opened, and tourism projects will not accept guests. A faint voice suddenly sounded from the sky. Lings Lucci and Kagu suddenly raised their heads and looked solemn. Next second, circles of dark purple halos suddenly descended. The body of Pigeon Man Rob Lucci. The terrifying gravitational oppression struck, instantly causing a master like Lucci to bend over. This is just the beginning. With the escalation of gravity oppression, Rob Lucci has been tempered since he was a child, and the strong body he has cultivated is creaking at this moment. It was the rubbing of the bones in him, the sound. Lucci, what's wrong with you? Kagu, who was outside the gravitational aperture, noticed Lucci's abnormality and asked anxiously. Don't come here. Lucci let out a roar. Boom, because of this momentary opening. His knees fell heavily on the ashlar platform. Smash big cracks on the platform. Hey, what the hell is going on? Kagu's face was full of shock and horror. Lucci, the strongest 9 with more than 4,000 Taoist powers, was actually suppressed. What's even more shocking is that the person who made the shot never showed up. How can this strange scene calm down Kagu? Who is it? Kagu couldn't help shouting in horror. Gia ha ha ha. Kagu was answered by a burst of unruly laughter. Not the one who spoke up before. There are masters in the sky. Think of this. Kagu's muscles tensed involuntarily. His eyes stared into the dark night sky. Under the shadow of night, a vague figure gradually enlarged and became clear from his sight. In the end, it was completely in his sight. Blonde hair as thick as a lion's mane gleamed in Gecko's light. His feet disappeared and fractured. In its place were 2 swords that flickered with cold light. This unique shape. The terrifying aura of the roaring lions rushing towards the world, swallowing the world with rage. Kagu's pupils kept shrinking. The mouth is even wider. In front of the fierce old lion. His tempered body turned out to be BVS trembling. It was the ultimate fear that stemmed from instinct. He had already recognized the man in front of him. Recognize who the character with the lion in his eyes is. You are the flying pirate Golden Lion Shaki. Kagu used all his strength and let out a hoarse roar. Gia ha 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 ha, I can't believe that there are still little devils who recognize this old man in this era, not bad. Golden Lion Shaki laughed proudly. Kagu, I%. Who can tell me what is going on in this city? That's all for the retired Marine Chief Instructor. Why has it disappeared for 20 years now? The legendary flying pirate, Golden Lion Shaki is also here. Long Nose 9 Kagun's roar. In his mouth, he kept sucking in the cold air, but he couldn't say a word. Gia ha ha ha, little devil, for the sake of your recognition of the old man, I will spare you this time, hurry up and get out. Mid-air, Golden Lion Shaki laughed loudly. If you really want to visit Sky Island, please buy tickets through regular channels in the future. Please come back now. The first polite voice sounded again. A blind swordsman. Slowly descending from the sky. When he fell to the great platform, pressing on Lucci instantly dissipated. Lucci, are you all right? Took a deep breath and stepped on the Rokushiki and swept to Lucci's side. Cough cough. A little pain flashed across Rob Lucci's grim face, and a few strands of blood appeared at the corners of his mouth. Asshole. Lucci raised his hand to wipe the blood from the corner of his mouth. Sheila, the next moment. His body suddenly changed dramatically, and his stature suddenly doubled in height. Yellow and white spotted leopard print emerges from his body. That's his devil fruit ability. Zone cat fruit leopard form. Lucci, what are you doing? Kagu screamed in horror. The moment of recognizing Golden Lion Shiki. Kagu knew that with their strength, even if the two played together, they would definitely not be able to win. Not to mention that the other party also has a terrifying monster with unknown abilities. Shaved. 4. Companion Kagu's exclamation. Rob Lucci seemed unheard of. At this moment, his cold eyes were already overrun by bloodlust. As the most ruthless murder weapon the government has cultivated, how could he easily surrender? Even if you want to run, you have to leave something behind for the enemy. Only this time, he was impulsive after all. He completely misunderstood the huge gap in strength between himself and his opponent. Rokushiki, 6 styles. Quote. Rob Lucci fists crossed. Starting point is Marine Rokushiki, S most powerful move after the completion. However, his 6 King's Spear, attack. The next moment, Rob Lucci's complexion changed suddenly. Roar, the roar of a tiger suddenly sounded between heaven and earth. That's the swordsman. Isho is shooting. Gravity Knife Tiger 5%. Rob Lucci, S6 King's Spear. The shockwave was just hit by the swordsman. Isho, S Gravity Knife crushes and crushes. Iron Block Empty Wood. Rob Lucci looked horrified and deployed his strongest iron defense in an instant. However, under the onslaught of Admiral level, what can his iron block do? The blue tiger rushed past, opened his bloody mouth and bit Rob Lucci's body, breaking the defense in an instant. A long and narrow bloodstain was left on his body, unable to fall to the ground. Lucci. Kagu let out a horrified cry. The first time he stepped on the moon step and rushed out, he caught Lucci who was almost unconscious. Gia haha, it's really boring. Golden Lion Shiki shook his head indifferently. But he didn't pursue it. Because I had already received a contact from Roland before. I really don't know what the big brother wants to do with these mice. Golden Lion Shiki puzzled. The teacher is naturally his consideration. Swordsman. Isho spoke calmly. Which had been noisy for a while, returned to calm. At the same time, the magnificent Weisung headquarters building. An agile and graceful figure stepped on the air and climbed to the sky step by step. I found an unclosed window and jumped in. The heels of the high-heeled shoes touched the marble floor, making a soft sound. Easy and easy. Keeping one head. Khalifa's mouth with soft blonde hair lifted a slight arc. After all, she's infiltrating the enemy's headquarters right now. The Pata is just when Khalifa is still immersed in the joy of the smooth infiltration. In the dark corridor, there was a sudden sound of the switch being turned on. Next moment, a bunch of flashlights hit her. Oh. Rao is Khalifa who has received numerous special trainings since he was a child. Facing this sudden situation, he couldn't help but be shocked. The footsteps subconsciously take a step backwards. Khalifa, who was in a panic, naturally didn't notice the watermelon rind behind him. So, when her high heels stepped on the slippery watermelon rind, the right foot slid backwards sharply. Split a fork on the spot. Clap. In the darkness, someone applauded. Chapter 291 To Cry Without Tears. Khalifa is messy. Open black lens bracket order 5/5 close black lens bracket. Weisung headquarters building. Khalifa, who successfully infiltrated the top floor, was startled by the sudden flashlight. The right foot involuntarily took a step back. It's about to go into combat. What the panicked Khalifa didn't notice was a piece of watermelon rind that appeared out of nowhere. When her black high-heeled shoes landed on the melon rind, she inevitably slipped back. The right script can slide backwards. The end result is a graceful and flawless split. The dark corridor fell into a moment of silence. Whoever threw the watermelon rind. After realizing that the culprit that made him almost fall was a piece of watermelon rind, Khalifa's heart suddenly collapsed, and subconsciously cursed. Clap, At this point, there was a burst of applause in the darkness. The shaking flashlight shone on Khalifa's beautiful eyes, causing her to narrow her eyes unconsciously. At the same time, it also woke her up from her resentment for the melon rind. Only then did I realize the fact that there are other people here besides she. The undercover search mission failed. Khalifa's pretty face gradually became serious. "Who are you?" Khalifa asked in a deep voice. The click switch sounded again. But this time it's the hallway lights. The sudden light made Khalifa narrow her eyes. "I should be asking you this sentence, right?" Melon-eating crowd Luo Lin shook his flashlight and spoke casually. "This person." By bright light, Khalifa finally saw the face of the person who grabbed him straight in front of him. The subconscious breathing is stagnant. "This person is so handsome," Khalifa thought subconsciously. "Bah, is this the time to think about this?" Just after thinking about it, Khalifa took a sip. Shaking his head, he quickly put the thoughtless thought behind him. That the secret infiltration mission has been discovered, there is only one thing she can do. That is to exclude people who see her appearance. Although it's a pity. But only did it. Khalifa thought. Unconsciously, he grasped the weapon in his hand. "Well, little girl, what, you came here to clean?" Just when Khalifa was ready to riot at any moment, the melon eater in the corridor suddenly grinned Isho and said, Khalifa tilted her head in confusion. "I called someone to come and clean it in the afternoon, but I didn't arrive until late at night. If I'm late again next time, my salary will be deducted," Roland said casually. Quote. The question marks on Khalifa's head grew denser. What love? Khalifa looked down, and the whole person was in a mess. At this moment, weapon in her hand as a broom. She didn't know when she was covered with an apron. When the hell did I happen to hit these when I fell? Cleaning tools. Looking at the various cleaning tools scattered around, Khalifa was completely messy. No, even if there is such a coincidence, would a normal person in the middle of the night think this way? It's hard to believe. I'm having trouble with my brain. Khalifa's beautiful eyes lit up and subconsciously guessed. Roland. The other side. Khalifa put on an apron that fell from the sky, a bucket in his left hand, a rag, a broom and a mop in his right hand, and then followed Luo Lin's words, ready to fool him as a cleaner. Brother, are you the security guard here? Just when Roland was thinking about whether to showdown or not, Khalifa's whistling voice came. The warm and sweet breath blew in his ears, itching. Looking at the cleaning Khalifa who was in the play for a second, Luo Lin couldn't help but look strange, and then nodded. Sorry, I have something to do at home in the afternoon. Came late, so I sneaked to clean in the middle of the night. Brother, please don't tell me, I don't want to deduct my salary, can you? Khalifa opened her big watery eyes and looked so pitiful, I felt pity. As the elite of the government's 9 spy organization, in addition to killing skills, acting is naturally one of Khalifa's required courses. Whether it is the secretary of the gold medal royal sister, or the pitiful cleaning girl, Khalifa can enter the play in a second, at your fingertips. Okay, I won't deduct your salary. Roland nodded. That's great, thank you brother. Khalifa whispered softly. A frown Isho, heartwarming. I can't believe that this little girl from the government is still a showgirl, huh? Roland grinned Isho. Come with me, hurry up and clean up and go home. Roland turned to say hello. Okay, brother, I'm a professional. Khalifa self-confession. The door of the office on the top floor of Ka slowly opened. Was about to touch the core area of the enemy, and even Khalifa couldn't help but breathe. However, when the door was fully opened, after seeing the chaotic scene inside, the look of anticipation on Khalifa's face instantly froze. A pair of beautiful eyes suddenly widened. Totally dumbfounded. What's the situation? Didn't you talk about the office? Why is it so chaotic? And that table, it should be a conference table. Why did it become a dining table? Has anyone held a banquet here? Look at the messy enemy office. Khalifa herself was completely in a mess. What are you doing, still waiting for you to clean? Roland smiled and urged. Oh. Khalifa came back to his senses and nodded again and again. The play has already reached this stage, and there is no other way but to go to the end. Although it is a little messy, but if you look carefully, you may find a huge discovery. Of course, only the dead do not reveal secrets. But if the security guard at the headquarters were to die, it would inevitably lead to greater chaos, which would outweigh the gains. Anyway, this security guard looks silly. Just 3 or 2 sentences can make him fascinated. Think here. Khalifa made up her mind and nodded. Step into the office. Oops. Next moment. Khalifa's tender voice sounded again. Her long, slender, straight legs turned back and forth again, and sat on the ground at a 180-degree angle. Finished my second perfect split of the day. Who threw the banana peel? Look at the culprit who caused his second split. Khalifa was about to cry without tears. Little girl, although you are good at splitting, you don't need to perform all the time. Roland said casually while eating bananas. Khalifa, Chapter 291. The legends appear one by one. The shock of CP9. Open black lens bracket 1/4 for order close black lens bracket. A vacant house in Waisung. Still the basement. After 3 hours 3. From World Government Secret Intelligence Organization 9 reunite again. The atmosphere was very quiet. The dim yellow flickering kerosene lamps illuminated their pale faces. Without exception. The dead silence continued for a while. I'll come first. Charge of monitoring Frankie and Iceberg and finding the blueprint of Hades, raised his hand. I was found again. Bluno said with a bitter expression. Since getting door fruit. He has always come and gone without a trace, and no one has ever been able to find his secret peeping. However, this situation changed after arriving in this city. First up is the perceptive Straw Hat Boy. And then, I thought of the few visitors I saw earlier in the residence of Frankie, Iceberg and his party. Brooke's tall body couldn't help but shudder. A look of shock and disbelief appeared on a dull face. After all, what he saw was three legends. Bluno, who discovered you this time? Looking at Bluno's terrified expression, Kagu couldn't help but ask. This time I saw three legendary beings. Bluno took a deep breath and suppressed the vibration in his heart. Not long ago, on Iceberg and Frankie's side, I saw the 3 crew members who used to be One Piece, King of Pirates Roger, Hades Rayleigh, Wonquan Swordsman Brooke and a guy named Crocus. Bluno opened his mouth faintly. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, how could he believe it? Except, Chief Instructor Zephyr, even the legendary pirates like Rayleigh, the Hades King, exist in this city. There was an eerie silence in the basement again. You must not believe that Zephyr, who hates pirates the most, lives in the same city as pirates. Bluno smiled reluctantly. No, I believe it. Kagu nodded. Because my mission with Lucci also failed, and we also met a legend. Kagu's voice gradually became low and trembling. You too, Kagu, who did you meet? Bluno's eyes widened in surprise. The legendary flying pirate Golden Lion Shiki, there is another incredible monster. Kagu said solemnly. Nani? Bluno's voice suddenly rose an octave. I thought the scene I witnessed with my own eyes was enough. Never thought that Kagu and the others would be so crazy. In addition to One Piece King of Pirates, right-hand Pluto Rayleigh, even the Golden Lion Shiki appeared in this place. What kind of epic gathering is this? Legends appear one after another. Could it be that even the dead Roger will appear as Bluno in the end, and the hearts of Kagu and the others are all surging with turbulent waves? They had a hunch that the water in this city was much deeper than they thought. Khalifa. Bluno looked at Khalifa, who looked dull and distracted. Blonde beauty Khalifa is unresponsive. Khalifa, how are you doing here? Have you encountered any legends? Kagu frowned, his voice raised a little. Ah. At Kagu's call. Khalifa then came back to his senses. What legend? Khalifa asked back. All she encountered was a strange security guard, and those strange experiences. Who would have thought that in just 1 hour, she would have accidents one after another, 7 times in a row with various poses and splits for various reasons. It seems that the god of fate is deliberately playing tricks on her. General. Thinking of the various accidents that happened when I was cleaning the Waisung headquarters building. Khalifa is messy, she wants to cry but has no tears. Bothered Khalifa the most was the security guard who seemed silly to her. Whenever she encounters an accident, it's just a matter of helping her. He was still eating melons, watching the excitement and laughing out loud. It's really nasty. In any case, she can be regarded as a beautiful beauty. Not grasping so many opportunities, it's just. Steel straight man. Single. Khalifa gritted her silver teeth angrily, wrinkled her nose involuntarily, revealing a cute little angry expression. Looking at Khalifa's small expressions that have never appeared before, Kagu and Bluno both look horrified. Khalifa, are you really okay? Khalifa, have you really encountered no legend? And Bluno asked in unison. No. Khalifa shook her head. Legend, what a legend. Kagu, Bluno. Feelings are distracted. It really shouldn't be, but in this special period, it's okay. And Bluno nodded, and then recounted the previous encounter in its original form. What did you say? Hades Rayleigh and Golden Lion Shaki. Khalifa's voice was raised more than an octave. How can such a thing be possible? Are we dreaming, or how can the legendary characters from before we fell into some kind of fantasy get together? Furthermore, Golden Lion Shaki and the Roger Pirates are mortal enemies. And Zephyr's chief instructor, it's impossible to get along with the pirates at all, we must be caught in some kind of strange illusion ability, must. Khalifa spoke for sure. Otherwise, how to explain that the other party is only a security guard who guards the door? The temperament is so extraordinary. More importantly, in front of a beautiful woman like her, she didn't even move at all. Is there any better explanation for all this other than hallucinations? Maybe it's possible. Bluno, who were unable to accept the legendary appearance one by one, also nodded. Although Khalifa's guess is not very reliable, it is not impossible. Hiss. Listening to the boundless speculations of his friends, Lucci, who was sitting beside him, closed his eyes and recuperated, suddenly gasped in anger. Lucci, your injury. Khalifa finally noticed the bandage wrapped around Lucci's body and couldn't help widening her beautiful eyes in shock. Enough. Rob Lucci stopped drinking, affecting the wound. The white bandage was instantly soaked with blood. The mission report will stop here, and it will be done soon. Rob Lucci got up. But Lucci, your injury. Kagu is worried. No problem, who do you think I am? Rob Lucci spoke confidently and firmly. This mission was his most humiliating in years. It was a huge setback before it even started. But that didn't kill his will. On the contrary. Right now, he is the most arrogant. Chapter 292 Brother Calamity Jack, the battle is settled. Open black lens bracket 2/4 for order close black lens bracket. Early morning. Genius shines brightly. The highest floor of the Waisung headquarters building. The girl Alice was wearing a cute home apron, holding a bucket in one hand and a rag in the other, and pushed open the door of the office. Alas, Mr. Roland, why are you here? Once you enter. The girl Alice saw Llewellyn in front of the floor-to-ceiling windows and closed her eyes to the rising sun. This should be my office, right? Roland opened his eyes and smiled. It's better to say, little girl Alice, what are you doing here this early in the morning? Roland looked up and down at Alice, the girl dressed as the cleaning girl. My heart, I silently compared with Khalifa's outfit last night. The same blonde hair, really excited about the royal sister and the cute loli, it is still more brilliant. My word, of course, is to help fight. The girl Alice stopped abruptly before she finished speaking. A pair of beautiful eyes stared at the boss. Looking spotlessly clean, both the floor and the windows are glittering offices. The girl Alice's eyes couldn't help but look straight. For the party that Roland had with Iceberg, Frankie and others yesterday, the young girl Alice was the only one who knew. Later, I came back to see how messy the scene was. As a direct office, the girl Alice naturally thought that she should not let others in. So I decided to wait until I was free to clean it myself. Never thought. Wait for her to come back here again. The messy office after the party has become so tidy. Sir, I am really sorry. I thought that Mr. wouldn't come here, so I dragged it up to clean it now, and I made him do these chores by himself. I am really sorry. Girl Alice bowed 90 degrees and kept apologizing. Don't apologize, little girl Alice. Roland's figure flashed and appeared in front of the girl Alice. A large warm hand fell on her blonde hair and rubbed it lightly. You don't need to apologize for this kind of trivial matter. You've done enough. Leave it to others like cleaning, and occasionally go to play with Robin Girl and the others. Roland said softly. Oh, but this is Mr. Lin, yes, the office. You can't let anyone in. The girl Alice blinked her eyes and opened her mouth seriously. Ha ha ha, it's okay, it's okay, anyway. There is nothing important at all. Roland laughed. After all, Khalifa worked here all night last night, working hard as a toolman for 3 hours, and finally found only a big bag of garbage. Almost collapsed. Mr. Roland, as expected, the cleaning here will still be. Oh. Girl Alice thought about it, but still felt that she should do more. However, before she could finish speaking, the following words turned into a coquettish cry. Next second, a strong arm suddenly passed through her slender waist and picked her up. I'll take you to Sky Island to play with Robin and the others today, and leave the work to others for the time being. Roland hugged the girl Alice in a princess hug, and smiled. Shoo, is just a blink of an eye. The scene where the two of them are located is from the office to the high sky with white clouds. This strange change immediately surprised the eyes of the young girl Ellie. Another dazzling effort. This time, they have already come to the sea of clouds at a height of 10,000 meters. Eastern sky. The fiery red morning sun rises slowly, reflecting the white sea of clouds into a splendid, instantly magnificent. Sit down and watch the sunrise first. Roland put down the girl Alice and smiled. Girl Alice blushed slightly, nodded obediently, and sat down beside Roland hugging her knees, watching the sun rise quietly. The little head unconsciously leaned on Roland's shoulder. With Mr. Roland like this is like a dream. No, not even a dream. The girl Alice thought contentedly. That's right. Silence and beauty were only 3 seconds, and Alice, the workaholic, seemed to have thought of something, and hurriedly sat up straight. What's wrong? Roland raised an eyebrow. The representative teams of the islands in East Blue will soon cross the windless zone, but there is something wrong there. There are many pirates gathered there, and they may have to do something to the people of East Blue. Alice said solemnly. Small thing, just let the shock kid go for a walk later. Roland said casually. It's not a small thing, it's not a small thing. The girl Alice waved her hands again and again. The pirates gathered over there this time and the great pirates of the New World, according to the information I have obtained, the 4 emperors. The drought of the 4 Emperor 100 Beast Pirates and the officers of the 4 Emperor Pirates may also be there, crazy. The backstage supporters of those underground dark forces are the emperors of the New World. We took down East Blue and South Blue and caused huge losses to them, so they may retaliate. Alice said solemnly. Brother, Calamity Jack. The corners of Roland's mouth lifted a radian. In that case, let Isho and Brooke go on a trip together. Roland said calmly. Mr. Isho and Mr. Brooke, that's pretty solid, of course if. The girl Alice thought excitedly. Wait, she finished. Roland's index finger blocked her red lips. It's rare to encounter such a beautiful sunrise, don't waste it. Roland's big hand fell on the shoulder of the girl Alice and took her into his arms. The girl's delicate body trembled slightly. Obedient humming. The peaceful days at Sky Island continue. Just when Roland took the little girls on an adventure on Sky Island. Near the junction of the Great Airway and the Windless Belt, the undercurrent was gradually turbulent. Above the turbulent sea, a fleet decorated with the heads of various ferocious beasts rises and falls on the sea. Leading the charge is the ancient mammoth. The younger brother of the beast pirates, oh no, Drought Jack. Master Jack. In the sky, a Batman flew by. The Sixth Emperor, Batman who can fight with the Five Emperors Straw Hat Luffy. Lord Jack, you can already see those East Blue's civilian ships, but Alabasta seems to have sent some incredible people to respond. The Six Emperors, Bat said with lingering fears. Who is the amazing character? Drought Jack's henchman, Hipshead, the artificial sheep capable. All I saw was the one that Sabayati appeared. Thor, Logia Guro Guro no Mi, Rumble Rumble Fruit, capable Enel, One Piece King of Pirates Roger, S. Crew, Wonquan Swordsman Brooke, and... Speaking of this, the Batman's body couldn't help but sway, and panic appeared on his face. Who else? The artificial Springbok ability man Kim Lamy asked. And that, the famous monster Ronin in the New World, Isho, the great swordsman of heavy fruit. Batman shouted. Wow! The fleet of beasts instantly burst into an uproar. Thor Enel. One of the legendary swordsmen of Wonquan, Brooke. And that, terrifying Ronin monster. This is completely different from what we imagined. Isn't it okay or, a group of weak civilians? ... The pirates of the beast screamed in horror. Lord Jack, what should we do if we don't retreat first? We have a long-term plan. Shipshead opened his mouth tentatively. What did you say? Hearing the words of Hipshead and the rest of the crew backing down, Drought Jack was instantly furious. Eyes suddenly widened, exuding a bloodthirsty light. The solid deck beneath his feet shattered under the pressure. Who are you, you bastard? The battle is over. ... Chapter 293 Fire Fist Ace appears. Nami and Nojiko open black lens bracket 3/4 close black lens bracket. Great Airway, Carnival City. This is the start of the leftmost route of the Great Route, and the pointer must point to the island, adjacent to the windless zone between the Great Route and East Blue. It is also one of the islands that can be reached by sea trains originating from the water capital. Carnival City. The city lives up to its name. This is a bustling island where various carnivals are held all year round. Every year, it welcomes countless tourists and pirates. Especially after the opening of the sea train. The carnival on the island is also getting more and more lively. The city. Pirates live in harmony with ordinary civilian tourists. A peaceful one. At this moment. A large restaurant in the center of Carnival City. Boss, I want 5 more fried rice, 5 more seafood noodles, and 10 more meat. A chapter table in a restaurant. Wearing an orange cowboy hat with a few pockmarks on his face greeted loudly. Received. Rare to meet a big guest, and the waiter of the restaurant immediately responds happily. Guest, here we come. Soon. The waiter in the restaurant with a stunt came with the young man's fried rice and noodles. Guest, you're really a big eater. The restaurant owner rubbed his hands together. It's all right. The young man opened his mouth vaguely, and continued to bury his head in destroying the food in front of him. Ding dong, just at this moment, another group of tall, different-looking weirdos came to the restaurant. Guests, what would you like to eat? The restaurant owner greeted him warmly. The tall geeks ignored him. Their aura was cold. Seeing this, the restaurant owner immediately shrank his head in fear, and hurriedly hid in the back kitchen and did not dare to come out again. Brother Snag, look over there. The pattern on that man's back is Whitebeard pirates. The pirates, headed by Snag, the 4 thief generals, suddenly shouted in shock. Bun and a terrifying sword behind him, General Xing Snag walked forward without saying a word. Sit down next to the young man who was engrossed in eating. A pair of eyes flashed fiercely, staring firmly at the young man at the next table. Don't stare like this when others are eating, it's very rude. The young man opened his mouth without raising his head. The captain of the 2nd Division of the Whitebeard Pirates, Fire Fist Ace. Snug spoke word by word. Reveal the identity of the youth in front of you. Wow. There was an uproar in the restaurant. Fire Fist Ace. That person turned out to be Fire Fist Ace, captain of the 22nd Division of the Whitebeard Pirates. Such a person is even here. The people present spoke in shock. Click click. Fire Fist Ace chewed and swallowed the last big flesh and blood, and his eyes fell on Snag. I know you are that Auntie's general. Ace said calmly. Fire Fist Ace, are you here because of that? Snug said in a low voice. No, don't get me wrong, I've been here in paradise for several months. Ace waved his hand. Why don't you want to take revenge? Your Whitebeard pirates should also suffer losses. Snug laughed sarcastically. That kind of thing has nothing to do with me, but I will be here today, but it has something to do with what you said. Sure enough. No. Ace interrupted Snag. My purpose is the exact opposite of yours, Snag, and I advise you to stay away from the East Blue Fleet. After all, East Blue is my hometown. Ace spoke faintly, with a strong threat in his words, causing the thieves behind Snag to subconsciously hold the weapons in their hands. Want to fight, Whitebeard? S. If you want to fight, we will accompany you to the end. What about the Whitebeard pirates? We're not afraid of you. The cadres and fighters of the thieves shouted. Wait. Critical moment, Snug raised his head to stop his impulsive younger brothers. Fire Fist Ace, since you want to protect the people at East Blue, it's useless to argue with us here. A teasing smile appeared on Snug's face. After all, compared to us, the bastards on the other side are more anxious than us. I'm afraid they have already killed them now. Snug sneered. Of course I know this, so I eat a little bit so I can walk faster. Fire Fist Ace grinned Isho, patted his butt and got up, ready to leave. Bastard, did you just leave like this? The money hasn't been paid yet. Seeing Ace slapping his butt in a dashing manner, he was about to leave. The restaurant owner, who had been hiding in the back kitchen, couldn't help rushing out. After all, Ace had eaten a lot of them before. If you don't pay, you will lose a lot. Boy, stop for me. The restaurant owner yelled in a hurry. Whoosh, heard the shouting of the little boss. Ace could no longer maintain the strong temperament of the captain of Whitebeard's 2nd and 2nd Division, and ran away. Ha ha ha, I am sorry, I went out in a hurry and didn't bring any money this time. Next time, I'll make it up for you. Ace laughed and ran away. Snug et al. In the restaurant. At this moment. The junction of the Great Route and the Windless Belt. A sailboat with the flag of freedom sailed safely out of the Windless Belt, and came to the Great Sailing Route. On one side it was calm. On the other side is the wind and the waves. The contrast is not too strong. To the people of East Blue who have never traveled the Great Route, this experience was nothing short of a dream. This is the Great Route. It's really amazing. On the boat at East Blue Kokoyashi Village, Nojiko, a hot blue-haired girl, marvels. Nami, she is adventuring on this sea. It's dangerous just to look at it. The scarred Mr. Ajien said worriedly. Ha ha ha, Ajien, what's there to worry about? this is Mr. Luo Lin's territory. Huge fish head on board. Redfoot Zeph, head chef at Sea Restaurant Barati, laughed. Yeah, Makino, I'll see Mr. Roland and Luffy soon, take it easy now. Windmill Village boat, the bandit Dayton grinned and comforted Makino, who looked uneasy. Teacher, look over there are ships flying in the sky. So dazzling. Is that the light of going? On the boat in Shimotsuki village, the crowd was still there. The snotty swordsmen and goblins noticed the going arc in the sky, and couldn't help screaming in shock. After them, the people on the other ships also noticed the arrival of the going arc, and they were instantly amazed and uproared. That's. On the Kokoyashi village boat, the blue-haired girl Nojiko's pretty face showed extreme joy, and she unconsciously raised her hand to cover her mouth. Nami. Chapter 294 Old Friends Reunited. Kushiro and Isho open black lens bracket 4/4 close black lens bracket. The going arc rode across the sky. Under the sunlight, it reflects the golden light of thousands of feet, which is dazzling. In an instant, it attracted the attention of the people of East Blue on the sea. In an instant, exclamations and uproar rang out. That's the going spaceship. It's the reinforcements sent by the headquarters. That's great. I finally don't have to worry about it. No matter who it is, they won't be able to turn a little bit of waves in front of the strength of the headquarters. Shipping agency responsible for escorting the East Blue fleet were surprised and excited. How much is a boat built by going worth? I've never seen so many goings in my life. It's really, madam, spectacular. The simple East Blue people all stared at the going arc in the sky without blinking. Let out a sound of amazement one after another. Finally, the going arc is approaching. The height also decreased gradually, so that people can see it in its entirety. Hey Nojiko, Ken and everyone. Just when the people on the sea were immersed in the magnificence of going's arc. Suddenly, the girl's surprise and coquettish voice came from the going bar on the boat. That's Nami. Nojiko, a blue-haired girl, was the first to notice the existence of the girl on the Kokoyashi village boat. Until it was recognized that it was her sister. The blue-haired girl Nojiko's eyes were red, and her slender hands covered her mouth unconsciously. The emotion of excitement and joy made her almost helpless. Nami. Police chief of Kokoyashi village with a windmill hanging behind his head, also shouted and waved happily. The other village representatives in the village on the boat were also full of smiles. Sister Nojiko, Mr. Gien, everyone. Nami's delicate and pretty face is also wearing a happy smile. When she heard from the girl Alice that the East Blue fleet was coming, Nami couldn't wait. I don't even care about the adventures with my sisters. With the going arc. I finally got my wish, reunited with my sister and everyone. Everyone, I'll come down here. Going to the rail of the arc, Nami said with a smile, and was about to turn over and jump down. Nami. Don't jump. Nojiko and the others screamed in panic. Hee. Nami giggled, Isho, and jumped down in the sight of people's panicked eyes. Boom, sounded softly. A white cloud appeared out of thin air under her feet, carrying her body and slowly descending. This scene is like the fairy Lynchen in the sky. The people watching the sea were all stunned. After a while, Nami's feet stood firmly on the deck. The white clouds beneath my feet gradually dissipated. Seeing the confusion and shock on the faces of Nojiko, Ajien and others nearby. Nami, with her little hands behind her back, couldn't help showing a big proud smile. Sister Nojiko, Mr. Gien, this ability. Nami smiled brightly. Nami, you, really, scared me to death. Nojiko was the first to get rid of the wrong spirit, opened his arms, and hugged his worry-free sister tightly into his arms. The little girl over there. At this moment, an old man's shout came from the adjacent ship that set sail from Windmill Village. You are Mayor Slap of Windmill Village, and Miss Makino. Nami, who had accompanied Luolin to Windmill Village, naturally recognized the two people on board immediately. Little girl, are you the only one here this time? Slap asked. No yo. Nami rode. That person, is that guy here? Slap asked nervously, and Makino, the girl next to the substitute, was nervous. The shrewd Nami naturally saw the anticipation on Makino's face at a glance. Toes lightly. Nami crossed the sea lightly and landed on the deck of the windmill. Miss Makino, unfortunately, Brother Rolling didn't come this time. Nami said, huh. The old village chief Slap snorted in dissatisfaction. It's okay, the village chief grandpa, don't do this. Makino said that it was fine, but she couldn't hide the depressed mood on her pretty face. Hee, Miss Makino, although Brother Luo Ling didn't come, but Nami's sly Isho leaned into Makino's ear and whispered a few words. Next moment, the fiery red color swept Makino's body. Her originally fair skin was instantly rosy. A shy wisp of steam rose from the top of his head. This. Makino was too nervous to speak. Miss Nami, what happened to Makino? Dadan, the bandit on the same boat, asked inexplicably. It's all right. Nami waved her hand. Yo hoo. People here rejoice at meeting Nami. Other side of the boat in Shimotsuki village, people's exclamations and screams were also heard. Appeared Brooke, who is dead and still alive with only bones. Most of the children in Yixin Dojo had their eyes glowing with curiosity on their faces. Yo ho, I am so rude. Gentleman Brooke's stooping salute. Mr. Brooke doesn't have to. Kushiro stepped forward quickly. Ha, Kushiro, your excellency's sword is more mellow and smooth than before. The name of the great swordsman is well deserved. If there is a chance in the future, please enlighten me. In the sky, the blind swordsman. Isho smiled and fell slowly. You are. Looking at the old man who fell onto the boat, Kushiro's eyes suddenly widened. Lord Isho. Kushiro couldn't help but exclaimed in surprise. Teacher, do you know this person? Is this grandfather an acquaintance of the teacher? ... The children on the boat asked in confusion. Kushiro nodded. When he was young in the past, Kushiro also went out to sea with one knife and one knife. Along the way, I met many like-minded partners. Such as dragons, bears, Ivankov, etc. Also, swordsmen. Isho is also one of them. The two have been together for a while. Your Excellency Kushiro, I haven't seen you for many years, stay safe. Swordsman. Isho laughed. Ha, Your Excellency Isho is the one. I haven't seen you for so many years, it's getting more and more unfathomable. Kushiro laughed. With Lord Isho and Mr. Brooke here, I don't need to do anything for this trip. Kushiro opened his mouth and looked to the southeast. Over there, a fleet of beasts rode the wind and waves and charged straight towards them. 100 beast pirates, this is really tricky. Swordsman. Isho faces southeast. His right hand was placed on the sword at his waist. Yo hoo. Brooke also laughed. However, just in swordsman. Before Isho et al. Suddenly, a flame flashed across the sea. Fire fist. Accompanied by a loud shout. The endless raging flame fist swept the sea. Boom. Chapter 295 Sad Drought. Shocked Ace open black lens bracket 1/4 order close black lens bracket. Stormy sea. East Blue Fleet, which crossed the windless belt, sailed straight to the direction of the destination Santin Island. At the same time, the East Blue Fleet is about 5 miles away. The Beast Pirates fleet headed by the ancient mammoth smashed the waves. Coming with the stormy clouds. Aggressive. As the Emperor of the Sea in the New World, the fleet under the command of Kaido of the Beasts, the strongest creatures in the sea, land and air, they do have the capital to disdain the sea. Even in the New World, this fleet can still be domineering. Not to mention that it's just a mere paradise these days. Little ones, the battle is over. On the giant mammoth, the tall brother, Jack, roared loudly. Ah, oh oh oh. The beasts echoed in unison. Click ka 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 ka. Tet tun tun, the beast battleships lined up in an arc formation opened their black muzzles. A large number of shells began to fill. Always be ready to fire at all times. Invisible killing intent spread out. The waves of the sea became more and more turbulent. Mr. Aegean, something is bad. There are many pirate ships in the southeast. On the boat of Kokoyasi village, some village representatives shouted anxiously. Boss Dayton, a pirate. Is a pirate. Windmill boat, the short man of the bandit Dayton's family reported with a panicked face. 100 beasts. It's the 100 beast pirates. Everyone is on alert. The members of the shipping agency responsible for the escort work spoke loudly. Wow. When his voice fell, the entire fleet was once again in an uproar. East Blue people of the fleet are country bumpkins, who have never seen the world. But they are not ignorant. Four emperors. The 4 great pirates who ruled the sea. Who does not know the 4 emperors Kaido of the beasts, that is synonymous with terror. This moment of the powerful maritime restaurant Baratia unconsciously showed extreme panic and fear on their faces. What to panic, what to panic? Redfoot Zeph, the chef who has seen the world, scolded. But, the chefs at the Fish Head restaurant were so nervous that they were speechless. The little girl Ren Nami didn't panic. You big men are not as good as a little girl, don't be ashamed. Redfoot Zeph reprimanded. Windmill ship. Nami also saw the ferocious beast fleet in the southeast direction. However, following Luo Lin's accustomed to seeing Nami in the big field, it was unusually calm at the moment. There was no panic in the heart. Uncle Isho, Mr. Brooke, the shock boy, I'll leave it to you next. Nami spoke calmly. Ho 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 ho, the beast pirates, it's really been a long time since I fought each other, so I'll go ahead. Brooke laughed. In people's wide eyes, one step jumped into the sea. However, the picture that people imagined that Brooke was swallowing the sea did not appear. Next moment, a white wave line appeared on the sea. That's Brooke running fast on the ocean. Thumbs, at the same time. The going arc controlled by Enel made a loud noise. Countless black thunderclouds rose into the sky. It made the whole sky darken even more. Lord Isho, when are you ready to start? Kushiro looked at the swordsman. Isho. Wait. Swordsman. Isho didn't finish his sentence. The next moment, a fiery flame appeared in his observation hockey perception. That's swordsman. Isho suddenly looked up. Someone showed up again. What happened to that flame? It is indeed a great route. There is fire flying at sea. The people in the East Blue Fleet stared at the extremely fast flames that were heading towards the Beast Fleet, and their eyes widened in shock. At the same time, the Beast Pirates on the other side also noticed the appearance of the flames. Master Jack. Lord Jack, look over there. That fire is Shipshead, Kim Rami and others shouted in shock. Don't wait for their voices to fall. The fiery flames on the sea suddenly rose into the sky. There, and the sky was set on fire. The hot flames stretched toward the sky, forming a huge flame cross. Then it turned into a skull symbol again. It was a flaming skull logo with a meniscus long beard. Representing the king of this sea, the Whitebeard pirates. That bastard is the Fire Fist of the Whitebeard family. The mammoth ship, Drought Jack suddenly looked up. The youth in the middle of the flaming Whitebeard sign. Immediately, a look of extreme anger appeared on his face. Drought Jack, I am sorry, the people over there are my fellow villagers. In the sky, Ace opened his mouth with a smile, his right hand formed a fist, and the flames were fierce. Bastard Fire Fist, you. Fire Fist. Wait, what testimonials from Drought Jack? Ace in the sky suddenly threw a fist. Huge flaming fists covered the world and charged towards the fleet of beasts below. Boom boom boom, the sea made violent waves. Countless seawater evaporates under the heat of the flames. Turned into scorching water vapor and permeated this sea area. Ah! The screams of the common pirates of the beasts came one after another. The entire fleet of beasts is in chaos at this moment. Lord Jack, that fire-fist bastard sank 3 of our warships, and the other 2 were in a half-destroyed state, and now that bastard is still there. Our ship is making a fuss, the damage is still expanding. Ship's head screamed in horror at the report. Damn fire-fist bastard, I won't let you do whatever you want next. Ship's head, send the order down, and bombard me hard when you get into range, I'll see that. Who Fire Fist can save today? Drought Jack's eyes gleamed fiercely. Pull out the 2 shuttle knives at the back of the neck and are about to strike. Yo hoo hoo hoo. Just then, a special burst of laughter sounded. Lord Jack, skeletons. Skeletons are here. All the long-range artillery shell systems of the battleship are frozen by the cold air and cannot be fired. Another female confidant of Drought Jack's, Kim Rummy, came running in a panic. What did you say? Hearing this, Drought Jack finally can't calm down anymore. Yo ho ho ho, isn't this Ace? The other side. Brooke, who entered the beast fleet alone from 2 directions, met Ace. Mr. Brooke of the twins, why are you here? Brooke, who appeared in front of him, Ashton's eyes widened, his face full of surprise. Chapter 296 Drought Jack Despair. Fire Fist Ace Shock Open Black Lens Bracket 2/4 Close Black Lens Bracket. Mr. Brooke, aren't you supposed to be secluded in Twin Cape? Why are you here? Chaos Beast Fleet Rhino Ship. Ace looked at the strange bone skeleton creature in front of him in shock. From the first sight he saw, he recognized each other. 3 years ago, he climbed the upside-down mountain. One of 2 old-timers met at Twin Cape. He is also his father, one of the former partners of One Piece, King of Pirates Gul Roger. Huang Quan Janao Brooke. For my scumbag father. Ace has always hated him the most. However, he would not take his anger on his father's former partners because of this. As for these old seniors who are congenial with him, Ace is also very compatible. Yo ho ho ho, Ace, haven't you read the newspaper during this time? Brooke laughed. A sword was cut out, and the cold air from the Yellow Springs instantly froze the advanced weapon system on the ship. Sitting on a huge mineral treasure house like Wanokuni. The Beast Pirates are the largest arms dealer in the world. Possess a variety of advanced weapons and equipment. Even the world governments sometimes need to make deals with them. Through the middleman Clown Doflamingo to get the seastone weapons only produced by Wanokuni and so on. This fleet of beasts is also equipped with the most advanced long-range artillery system. Granted, like Brooke, the swordsman. A strong man like Isho is naturally not afraid of shelling. It's just that most of the East Blue Fleet are ordinary civilians. Brooke didn't want to scare them either. Why, it will take the first step and destroy the artillery system of the Beast Fleet. Also a swordsman. Isho and En'll buy some time to prepare. Fire gun. Fire Fist Ace uses fingers as guns. Fingertips kept firing flaming bullets, knocking down the beasts and ordinary pirates behind Brooke one by one. Ha ha ha, I am sorry, I've been busy chasing people lately, and I don't have time to read the newspaper. Ace hit haha and said embarrassedly. No time is an excuse. In fact, it's just because Ace, like his younger brother Luffy, has never had the habit of watching the news. Yo hoo hoo hoo, it's okay. Brooke laughed. Hateful bastards, have you talked enough? Boom, followed by a loud roar full of roars. The beast Drought Jack, holding 2 shotel knives, jumped up and landed heavily on the deck of the Rhino ship, causing a terrifying wave of air. Ling's entire Rhino ship shook violently, as if it were about to fall. The Drought of the Beasts, this is indeed a tough opponent, but no problem, Mr. Brooke, leave this guy to me. Ace patted his chest and opened his mouth with promise. Yo-hoo-hoo-hoo, that's not necessary, Ace. Brooke rode. Alas. Ace was puzzled. We are here, but there are still people who can't help but want to shoot. Let's go. Brooke greeted. Take the first leap from the rhino boat. What the hell is going on, Mr. Brooke? You just make it clear. Although Ace was full of doubts, he still landed on his flamethrower and followed Brooke obediently away. Yo-ho-ho-ho, just wait and see, Ace. Brooke laughed. Fire fist, skeletons, two bastards. Rhino ship, Jack, who was just getting ready for a one-on-two battle, had an icy gaze. The veins on the forehead are swelled. The anger in her heart was already surging like a volcano erupting. Drought Jack wants to chase. Just in terms of mobility, even with 1010s, he is definitely not as good as Ace and Brooke. Compare that to Drought Jack's fury. The expressions on the faces of the ordinary members of the 100 Beasts Pirates were first stunned, and then all turned into joy. Those two bastards are gone. Don't run if you have the ability. I ran away when I saw Mr. Jack coming, you know each other. As expected of the drought of our Beast Pirates, Lord Jack is mighty. What Whitebeard's 2nd Division captain. What a legend, seeing Lord Jack running away with his tail between his tails. ... The ordinary pirates of the 100 Beast Pirates burst into laughter. How embarrassed and frightened they were before. How proud it was at the moment. However, the smug smiles on their faces did not last long. GG, Lord Jack. The artificial chic power man Hipshead raised his throat and let out a hoarse scream of terror. Quick, quick, look at the sky. What the hell is that? Jin Rami and the others looked up at the changes in the sky and couldn't help screaming. Ah! Meteorite! Meteorite is coming! And that, what's the matter with the lightning-like ball? Run away. To die. ... The previous second was still there. The Beast Pirates who were proud of Fire Fist Ace and Brooke's initiative to retreat, all of them had extremely shocked expressions on their faces at this moment. Looking at the terrifying scene in the sky overhead. Who can keep calm? Even Jack, the iron-headed baby, was wide-eyed at the moment, and his eyes were splitting. This is how to play with that meteorite. He knew it was the power of the monster issue. But the other thing, what's going on? That round lightning ball is not a joke. Logia Guro Guro no Mi, Rumble Rumble Fruit, capable person is so terrifying. At this moment, even in the drought, Jack can't help but feel aghast and despair. The big move of the two powerful opponents. There is absolutely no way to resist. Even he can't do anything about it. After all, he's just a tank fighter. Now, like other beast pirates, they can only watch the natural disaster approaching. What the hell is that? At this moment, who followed Brooke for thousands of meters, also saw meteorites and thunderballs in the sky. Feel the terrifying aura of that destructive version. An emotion called shock quickly invaded his whole body. It made him completely shocked to the point of incomprehensible. That's what Mr. Brooke said. Ace widened his eyes and murmured unconsciously. Not long ago, I learned that 100 Beasts and Big Mom's main force had changed, and they wanted to take action against East Blue's fleet. Ace temporarily put aside his mission to hunt down Blackbeard. Want to do a little favor. Only now. Ace finally knew. Even if he doesn't come, there will never be any problems here. Because among the guards of the East Blue Fleet, there are real monsters. Rumble Rumble is under the shocking gaze of Ace and everyone in this sea area. Calamity. Coming. Chapter 297 The Four Emperors in the District. This girl is so raw hockey. Open black lens bracket 3/4 close black lens bracket. Fire Festival. Rainbow. ... Terrifying meteorites and world-destroying thunderballs fell from the sky. Cover the fleet of beasts including Drought Jack. Then people were shocked, and horrified, and the world roared at this moment. The sea went up against the current and set off a monstrous wave. The dazzling electric light covered the sky and the earth. Everything is invisible. Yo ho ho ho, prepare for the impact, Ace, don't be swallowed by the sea. Brooke laughed. Yes, yes. Ace, who was still in an extremely shocking mood, nodded knowingly. Controlling the flamethrower away at extreme speed. I don't know how long ago. The dazzling electric light dissipated. The rumble of thunder subsided. The waves of the sea calmed down. The thick thunderclouds covering the sky also disappeared. Also disappearing is the beast pirate fleet that came with endless vicious aura. The sky lights up again. The warm sun shines down. People release, hands covering their ears. The vision in front of him gradually became clearer. Looking at the endless brilliant sea. Fleet from all the islands of East Blue couldn't help but look confused. One by one, they fell into an emotion called shock, unable to extricate themselves. This is the end of the drought for the beast pirates. No more. Other direction, Fire Fist Ace, who successfully survived the stormy sea, also widened his shocking eyes. In the line of sight, the sea area where the beast pirate fleet was originally located, has only a few broken wooden boards. Just a moment. The fleet of ferocious beasts, including Drought Jack, was destroyed. Completely buried in the sea. How terrifying this is, to destroy the fleet led by Drought Jack. Even if the captains of their Whitebeard pirates take action. I'm afraid it will take a lot of time. Even more to pay. It's impossible to completely destroy the enemy in an instant like this. Unless their father, the strongest man in the world, Whitebeard Edward Newgate, can do it himself. However, but now, he has witnessed a scene of history. The terrifying meteorite and huge lightning ball that fell from the sky. Either way, Ace, who is the captain of the 2nd and 2nd Division of Whitebeard, left a deep impression. Large-scale big moves such as meteorite and Lei Ying are unsolvable in the Battle of the Sea Fleet. If previously changed to their fleet of Whitebeard pirates. At the same time facing the swordsmen. Isho and Enel's ultimate move. Their coping and ending will definitely not be much better than Drought. During this period of time, it seems that a lot of incredible things have happened at sea, but these events seem to be much bigger than I thought. Why did everyone in East Blue come to the Great Root and how did they come here? Mr. Brooke, and the monsters hidden in the fleet. In the end, only characters can lead such a powerful team. Could it be that there is another great person in this sea? The doubts in Ace's heart were surging like a tide, washing and beating his mind. Yo ho ho ho, are you scared? Ace, this is not our full strength. Brooke laughed. Quote exclamation mark exclamation mark exclamation mark quote. The expression on Ace's face became more and more exciting. Mr. Brooke, what do you mean by that? Ace asked impatiently. Come with me if you want to know. Brooke rowed. After all, Brooke stepped on the sea and returned to the direction of the fleet. Flamethrower, Ace hesitated for a moment. Next second. Follow up again without hesitation. He wants to see what the holiness is that made such an earth-shattering sound before. He also wants to know what a huge secret is hidden behind all the events in the sea in recent months. The sea area where the East Blue Fleet is located. From start to finish, the entire fleet was intact. Even the turbulent waves before, failed to impact the fleet at all. This is of course a swordsman. Isho settled on the sea with his power of fruit. At this moment, the people on the ships opened their eyes. The look is still shocking. Not long ago, the 4 Emperors and 100 Beasts pirate fleet came. It made them unconsciously terrified. However, it only took a few minutes before and after. The terrifying New World Beast fleet is gone, disappeared without a trace. The front-to-back contrast is huge. At East Blue couldn't react. That, the fleet of the 4 Emperors. The fleet of the great pirates. Where did it go? Is it destroyed? The folks at East Blue spoke in disbelief. Soon. The people on the boat finally confirmed this exciting fact. The cheers instantly resounded through the sky. Great. Really amazing. Blind Grandpa is amazing. On the boat in Shimotsky village, young children cheered. As expected of your excellency Isho, I'm afraid I'm out of reach now. Kushiro exclaimed. His excellency Kushiro is humble. If you talk about swordsmanship alone, this old man is not as good as you. Swordsman. Isho is also humble. Had a business exchange with Kushiro. At last they looked at each other and laughed. I'm not afraid, I'm not afraid, Makino is not afraid, so is Nojiko, it's all over, we won. Windmill ship. The youngest girl, Nami, is now like a big sister, holding Nojiko and Makino, who are older than her, in one hand. The slender hands gently patted their beautiful backs, softly comforting the frightened two. At this scene, Ling Zhajian, Dayton and the others couldn't help but stare in surprise. For a long time, Makino and Nojiko, who were seriously frightened, finally recovered. Nami, you are really amazing. You are not afraid at all. Makino, who has recovered, can't help but look at his younger sister with some admiration. Now it's Nami, you're more like an older sister. Nojiko also burst into tears. What's so scary? It's just the fleet of the 4 emperors. If you want to deal with us, at least, let Kaido of the Beasts come over in person. Naturally, Nami spoke. Pride and dry cloud, so. The people around who heard Nami's words were once again shocked and stunned. Even the famous Whitebeard Pirates 2nd Division Captain Fire Fist Ace is no exception. This girl is really good to give birth to hockey. Ace stared blankly at Nami on the windmill. After a while, Ace's gaze moved and landed on the familiar back. So stunned again. Ms. Makino, and Mayor Slap, Dayton, why are you here? Ace widened his eyes and shouted in shock. Alas. Ace. Chapter 298 Ace is excited. Nami famous all over the world. Open black lens bracket 4/4 for order close black lens bracket. Ms. Makino, and the village chief of Slap, and even the Dayton family. Why are you all here? Ace's eyes shifted from hockey Nami girl. Familiar faces on the windmill. The expression on Ace's face suddenly froze. That couldn't be concealed, and suddenly rushed out from his face. Ace never dreamed. I will be here one day, I will see the people of my hometown on the Great Voyage. This is supposed to be the Great Route, isn't it East Blue? Ace showed a horrified expression on his face. From Azina also attracted the attention of Makino and the others on the windmill ship. Alas, Ace. Makino, the village chief of Slap and the bandits of the Dayton family looked at the young man on the sea not far away. One by one, their eyes widened in shock. The voice has been raised by more than an octave. Ace Whitebeard Pirates 2nd Division Captain Fire Fist Ace. Listen to what Makino et al. Call Ace. Nami also opened her mouth wide in shock. She also responded. I once accompanied Luo Lin to the windmill village. I spent some time with the brothers Sabo and Luffy. How could Nami not know Fire Fist Ace or the name Ace? She used to call her ears all the time. Just when Nami and the others were stunned. Ace on the flamethrower jumped up and landed lightly on the deck of the windmill. Ms. Makino, long time no see. With a bright smile on Ace's face, he bowed politely and rigidly to Makino. Puff. Seeing Ace's rigid politeness, Makino couldn't help laughing. Before, like a big sister, she raised her slender hand and touched Ace's head. I haven't seen you for 3 years. Ace is still the same. Ace. Nothing has changed. If Ace knew that Sabo was still alive, he would be overwhelmed with joy. Makino thought happily. Makino was about to blurt out. But I saw that Ace had turned to say hello to the village chief Slap, who was standing beside him. Such a delay. When Makino was about to exit, he swallowed again. That's fine. I don't need to say it. It will be more interesting when Ace sees Sabo with his own eyes. Makino thought to himself. Village Slap, long time no see. Seeing that your body is still strong, I can rest assured. Ace politely bowed to the village chief Slap. Slap raised his hand and patted Ace on the shoulder. But when he thought of Ace's pirate status, he immediately became Lien again, pretending to be angry. Ace smiled naively, but was not there. And looking at the excited Dayton family, Dayton, you bastards, you look good too. Ace laughed. Stupid Ace, why did the painting style change when you came to us? Hey. Dayton was furious, raised his hand and slashed Ace's palm. Ace, it's too much. I won't tell you that. Good news. The little bandit Dogula burst into tears. Not because of Ace's impolite greeting. It was because I saw Ace again after 3 years. Ahahaha. Ace touched the back of his head and smiled indifferently. I am sorry, Dogula, by the way, you said there is some good news. You are all here, is it possible that Luffy is also here? Ace asked expectantly. HMPH, I'm angry, I won't tell you. The little bandit Dogra turned his head in feigned anger. Okay, Ace, if you want to know what the good news is, follow us to find out, right? Makino winked at Dayton and the others playfully. Everyone was in awe. The coxcomb-headed gangster who couldn't help but wanted to tell Ace the truth quickly covered his mouth. Look at the mysterious appearance of the people on the boat. Ace's head was suddenly filled with question marks. Originally, Ace just wanted to come and see who was the one who launched such a large-scale attack. Go after you see it. But now, when he saw that Makino, the village chief, Dayton and others were also in East Blue's team, Eston was in no hurry to leave. For the present situation, he still has a mountain of questions he wants to answer. And what Makino, Dayton, etc. said, good news. It made Ace even more concerned and itchy. Please, Miss Makino, just tell me. No. Sister Makino. Call my sister and don't tell you. Alas. Amid the laughter of the East Blue people, the fleet set sail again. In the direction of Waisung. At the same time, the turmoil caused by the destruction of the beast pirate fleet led by Drought Jack is still in the making. Who got the first-hand information is naturally Morgans, who is now the official correspondent of the Chinese organization. Ha ha ha. The hot air balloon headquarters of the World Economic News, Morgans laughed excitedly. After laughing, Morgans was merciless again, and gave himself a slap in the face. Since Sky Island Going reported, Morgans has been locking himself in the headquarters office. I am constantly busy preparing for the big news that will shock an era in the future. As a result, even the big news of the destruction of the Beast Fleet was missed. It is reasonable to say that he should be present in person for such a major event. Boss, what's wrong with you? Looking at Morgans, whose face was swollen. The employees of the newspaper office could not help but widen their eyes in surprise, and their faces were puzzled. No, it's nothing, I'm still doing what I'm doing, don't hurry to report this big news, waiting to be preempted by others. Morgans reprimanded. Yes. All the reporters responded in unison. By the way, President, regarding the Whitebeard Pirates 2nd Division Captain Fire Fist Ace's shot, do you want to open a separate page? A reporter asked. Fire Fist Ace. Morgans frowned, and immediately waved his hand. No, although Fire Fist Ace is also a gimmick, but this time it's okay, this time we just need to report the brilliant record of our Chinese organization. Morgan Street. Between the words, he has completely incorporated himself into a member of the Chinese organization. By the way, let's focus on Miss Nami this time. A smile appeared on Morgan's face. Truly a legendary hero. Even the little girl beside her is so hockey unparalleled. 4 emperors. Well said. Morgans couldn't help thinking, and automatically ignored the words, subordinate fleet, in the face of the 4 queens. Hence, Horpox, operation of the world economy in Morgans. The little girl Nami has successfully made a name for herself in the world with her hockey full of 4 emperors. Chapter 299 Hockey Nami. Sad reminder snag. Open black lens bracket 1/4 for order close black lens bracket. Under a series of salacious operations by the News King Morgans. Beast Pirate Fleet, it was not Fire Fist Ace's debut, nor Brook's solo assault, nor the swordsman who became famous. Isho and Thor Enel's terrifying wide-ranging ult. Through this incident, it is the 4 emperors of Nami na Haki who has succeeded in making a name for himself in the world. Sinton Island, the Kingdom of Alabasta. Roland, a backer of the News King Morgans, was naturally the first to get the news report. At this moment, Wanmi Sky Island, who ended a day of thrilling adventures, came to the floating volcanic island of Golden Lion Shiki again. A relaxing hot spring bath with Luo Lin while reading the newspaper. It's amazing, little Nami. Seeing the good sisters occupying the headlines, Vivi couldn't help exclaiming. Nami is really amazing. The newly joined Kaya is also amazed. It's really amazing, little Nami. Robin and Koala meet Isho. Agaga, admire and admire. The new girl Alice also nodded in admiration. The 4 emperors, she is indeed my girl. Even Roland couldn't help but exclaim at this moment. Under his influence and guidance, Nami, who used to be a weak and timid trio of straw hats, has now grown up to be able to speak Hockey's words like 4 emperors, indifferently. Witnessing, or in other words, Luo Lin, who brought up Nami's transformation, is naturally full of sense of accomplishment. If Nami knew about News King Morgans' salacious operation, if she knew the inner thoughts of Luo Lin and her sisters at this moment, and if she knew that people in the world recognized her hockey words, she would definitely cry, no, tears. Waesung Battleship Repair Port. The wind of the sea carried the news of the world economic news here. So no surprise. The ship workers in the water capital of the battleship repair port were all shocked. This going ship, I know, is the Sabayati, the god of thunder. I didn't expect that the one who appeared in Sabayati land, Thor, is actually the subordinate of the master of this city. It's unbelievable. The fleet of the 4 emperors and 100 beasts pirates was defeated in an instant. Hey, did I say that you don't pay attention to this little girl who is full of hockey? The 4 emperors. ... The boatmen in the water capital shouted and talked a lot while taking advantage of their free time. In a crowd of enthusiastic boatmen. The silence of Kagu, Lucci and Khalifa, the blonde secretary, is of course particularly conspicuous. Hey, what's the matter, Kagu? It's just that Lucci doesn't speak. You didn't say a word today, it's a bit wrong. Isn't she scared by this little girl from hockey? Shipmaster Barry, Fieldstone laughed loudly. He, the old man is just a little tired. Kagu covered his heart and smiled reluctantly. That, the monster old man who defeated Lucci with one blow, is nothing more than that. Even such a little girl can say such hockey's words so indifferently. What monsters live in this city? Kagu and Khalifa looked at each other. They all saw the tiredness in each other's eyes. The task this time is too difficult for them. It is beyond their ability. After half a day. The destruction of the beast fleet. A small, tattered raven came along with the current. There are only elderly people on the boat. 2 elderly people. A human old man and an old fish man to be precise. Ha, he really deserves to be the boss of Luo Lin, and the people under him are more fierce than each other. The old man Mu Lien laughed heartily. This Isho should be the one they met before. Fishman Samble Road. Of course it's him, he's one of Boss Luo Lin's disciples. Mu Lien is not without pride. If Brook is here, then Crocus should be there too. Fishman Samble guessed. It may be more than that. I have a hunch that we may meet many unexpected familiar faces in the past this time. Mu Lien said expectantly. After a while, the old man Mu Lien sighed again. I originally wanted to bring him a gift to help out when I went to see the boss, but the people under the boss's hands figured it out on their own, so it wouldn't be a good idea to go empty-handed. Mu Lian frowned bitterly. Wow, just when Mu Lian was distressed. The sea not far away. A potato pirate ship with a fancy flag is slowly approaching. Have. The old man Mu Lian's eyes lit up. Lord Snag, this should be the place where all the beasts were destroyed. Hey, what's reported in the newspapers, are they true or false? I am also very suspicious. After all, it is one of the 3 disasters of the beasts. Not to mention such a terrifying fleet. Potato boat. The direct subordinates of Star Snag spoke in shock. Lord Snug, at 10 o'clock we found a small boat approaching us. The pirates on the observation deck reported loudly. Sink. He ordered Star Snag without looking back. Bang bang bang, sounded several times. A spark exploded on the sea. The dilapidated small sailboat burst. Ha ha ha, what an impatient boy, I ask you, you are the first son of a bastard ant. An old voice sounded on the potato boat without warning, causing the expressions of everyone including Zhongxing Snag to change greatly. Who are you? Raising Xing Snug's head, his eyes fixed on the old man standing on the mast, his expression was even more solemn. In front of the old man, his muscles were instinctively tensed. The warning signs in my heart were even more loud. No matter how you look at it, it can't be an ordinary old man. The special broadsword behind King Snag is unsheathed. Ha ha ha, Charlotte S. Brat, I can't help but say that I have to pay for the bombing of the old man's boat. Mulian, the old man on the mast, grinned Isho. Next second. Boom, the air made a violent explosion. The fist of the old man Mulian touched with Snag's broadsword. The sturdy potato pirate ship shook violently at this moment. Constantly making an overwhelmed clicking sound, all the pirates on the ship were shocked. Hey, Mu Lian, be careful not to break the boat, or you'll really have to swim to Alabasta. The sea came the voice of Fishman Samble. The sea. There is also an ambush in the sea. The pirates on the potato boat screamed in horror. Fishman Karate Water Dragon out to sea. Accompanied by a loud shout from Fishman in the sea. The sea seemed to be resurrected. A lifelike giant water dragon bit the bottom of the potato pirate ship, rushed it into the sky, and then turned upside down. Ah! In screams. The pirates on the potato boat went into the sea one after another. Only Snag and Mulian stepped on the air and came into the air. Hey, Samble, you're the one, don't fool around. The old man Mu Lian was dissatisfied. I'm cleaning. Samble retorted. Bastard, who the hell are you two? Raged the Star Snag. Swinging a big knife, he took the initiative to dash forward. Boom, bang, Snag is worthy of the name of the star. Speed of light, captured. Another few hours. Charlotte Snag is defeated by a mysterious powerhouse, and news of her capture spreads. Once again, a wave of waves has been set off around the world. Chapter 300 Feet Lick the Dog, Sengoku. Son of Kaido. Open black lens bracket 2/4 ask for custom close black lens bracket. Marine Headquarters, Marineford. The Marshal of the Headquarters Building. Ha ha ha, are you finally going to take action against the 4th Emperor? I know it will be a matter of time. With that guy around, we Marine can be considered a little easier. Marine Legend Vice Admiral, Hero Garp laughed. Sighed, Marshal Sengoku pursed his lips and gave Garp, who couldn't stop laughing. Sengoku, what's your expression? It's a good thing, isn't it? Garp is dissatisfied. 4 years ago, the red-haired Shanks ended the chaos in the New World, established the current pattern of the 4 emperors, and stabilized the situation in the New World, but at the same time, we Marine completely lost control of the New World. In Whitebeard's sight, even if we Marine wants to pass, we have to pay tolls. If this situation continues, there will eventually be a big problem. Since Marine can't break it, it is natural for others to break the deadlock. The On the other side of the office, the young Vice Admiral Crane calmly analyzed. Of course I know that too. Sengoku sighed. I know what you're sighing about. Garp gave Sengoku a sidelong glance. I'm just afraid that guy is going the rock's way. Sengoku's faint path. There was a dead silence in the office. The Vice Admiral Crane put down his pen and raised his eyebrows slightly. Garp put down the senbei in his hand. Sengoku, what do you mean? This time, I've thought about it for a long time. You should not forget the ability he first showed in Mariajoy 36 years ago. Sengoku rode. You mean the rock's bastard? Garp frowned. Do you know how that guy got that ability? Sengoku asked back. Garp shook his head subconsciously. That guy Roland is a miracle man, I don't care about him. No matter how bizarre things happen, I won't be surprised, anyway. I already have 2 abilities, and it's not surprising to have one more. Garp said casually. I don't care about this, it's that. The effect of his brutal ability on him, the scene of the Mariajoy incident 36 years ago, as if the rocks had ravaged some country before. And this time, you should also be able to guess that. The golden lion who moved the entire Sky Island to the sky above Alabasta should be the golden lion. With the golden lion up front, then it's up to it. Kaido, even Whitebeard, I can't bear to think too much about it. What I'm most worried about now is, in the Battle of the Isle of God, was he possessed by the ghost of rocks? Sengoku frowned. Bang, young Vice Admiral Crane slapped the table. Sengoku, don't go too far. Vice Admiral Crane said coldly. Sengoku, this time I'm on Suru. When did you start believing that ghosts and gods said it was a good thing, but you still thought it was so outrageous? Garp is also dissatisfied. Sorry. Sengoku apologized in a low voice. I'm leaving. Vice Admiral Crane flicked his hand. I left a sentence and didn't leave it alone. Go here. Not return. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Sengoku smiled. Sengoku, did you just say that on purpose to make Suru angry? Garp, who was just about to go out to send Vice Admiral Crane out of the Marine headquarters, was very clever this time. After so many years, I also really want to see Suru's smile again. I'm afraid it's impossible here, so I hope she can smile Isho more over there. Marshal Sengoku bitter Isho. Garp, one thing please. What's the matter? If that guy makes Suru unhappy in the future, you help me beat him up. ... New World, Wanokuni, Onigashima. Crack, the sky smashed down a huge ray of lightning. Light up the dark Onigashima. Ooh. Onigashima Central Skull Hall, came the sound of the 4 emperors Kaido of the beasts crying and laughing. During the period, there was also the sound of wine pouring into the throat. The mere 4 emperors, what a mere 4 emperors, the bastards in the paradise have swelled so much recently that even a stinky little girl dares to talk nonsense. The obese third in command of the Plague Queen said coldly. Dare to say such a big thing, it must be the instigation of the person behind it. Now, there will be no idiot who thinks that the person behind the Wachung is a mere crocodile. Flame Calamity, surrounded by unknown flames, said in a deep voice. Ha ha ha, interesting, really interesting, this little girl from hockey, I like it very much. A young man with double horns like Kaido, wearing a furious feather coat like Doflamingo, walked into the hall with steps that he did not recognize. What are you doing? The epidemic queen looked at the visitor with disgust. Daddy bastard, let me go. Isho, a young man who looks 80% similar to Kaido. New World Totland. Thief Base Camp. Ma. Central Cake Island of Nations. The Schadenfreude of the 4 emperors Lot Linlin echoed in the sky. Kaido, the drought kid under your command is really useless. It seems that this time, the going clock tower belongs to the old lady. The 4 emperors Lot Linlin laughed confidently. Mom is right, the going clock tower must belong to our thieves. The eldest son, Parrowsparrow, was the first to flatter and respond. Brother Snag and the others, they will definitely bring back the going bell for Mom. Let that ignorant little girl see the real horror of the 4 emperor pirates in the movie. ... Many cadres and ministers of the thief responded in unison with optimism. Just a small part of it. Example, Katakuri, the head of the 4 generals, and others have always kept silent. Anxiety filled his eyebrows. Development of the situation so far, the other party. The power of the much-anticipated Watchung far exceeds their expectations. It's like a deep pit that can't be seen to the end. Waiting for the strong men of the sea to continuously invest in it. Mom. Just as Katakuri et al. A cadre looked panicked, shouted in horror, and rolled and crawled to the afternoon tea garden. What's wrong, what's it like? The eldest son Parrowsparrow reprimanded in dissatisfaction. Mom, something is bad, Snug. Something happened to Lord Snug. Master Snug was taken away by an unknown person. The cadres screamed in horror. The joyful atmosphere of the afternoon tea garden was stagnant. Boom, in the dark. A terrifying aura suddenly enveloped the audience. From the 4 Emperors Loch Linlin. The sealed chapter 292 is out. I beg everyone to subscribe.